a look at our map feed, though, ladies and gentlemen. 3 maps. Remind you, it's best of 3 series from now until the end of the semifinals, or best of 5 grand final with overtime rule set. Overtime is infinite in the grand final only. However, it is set to only 3 rounds so far in the quarters and the semis. Nora and Fnatic will begin to ban out their maps, and we'll see what we end up with in these 3. Gentlemen.
We'd probably expect the clubhouse from Nora at least. They've banned it 9 times in the last 3 months.
Straight out of the gate, and Fnatic to reply with a coastline. Now that wasn't one of their most banned maps. The funny thing here between these 2 teams is one of Fnatic's favorite maps that they almost never ban, Consulate, is Nora-Rengo's 2nd most banned map. And on the flip side, you have Border and, Border, right? Which is...
It's your decider.
Yeah, it's...
Villa is your 2nd map picked by Nora-Rengo. So, I mean, Fnatic, looking at them on Bank, seeing how many of the times they were able to play the map, anything really stands out in their strategies on your side, Dev?
Look, honestly, we've seen Nora-Rengo play in a fairly diverse number of ways, incorporating new operators such as the Clash, which they did play a bit of on Bank, as we've seen from quite a few teams, especially holding that top floor.
Yeah, I mean, even a lot of people have been holding on to the server stairs, the blue stairs, using Clash Ela combo, a lot of shotgun play as well with the FO12, and famously Fnatic for using that Ela shotty.
And we've seen Fnatic whip out that shotgun, not even that shotgun, but just in general, trying to think, okay, how can we win by playing positioning and getting a superior weapon? It's indisputable. You get a shotgun, a good shotgun, and in close quarters, if you're dictating when these fights are happening, you will win that 9 times out of 10.
Banning Ela against Fnatic might actually be the play just to get rid of that Ela shotgun, right? But you were talking about diversity, and in Fnatic, they seem to be the team that has the most diverse pick and ban in operators as well. The interesting thing here is that Nora is banning exactly what we expected them to, Coastline or Consulate and Clubhouse, right? Whereas Fnatic's 2 most banned maps aren't, which is Bank and Villa. They're left open. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at before, is that one of Fnatic's most banned maps is one of Nora's most played maps, and the vice versa. So Bank, right? We haven't seen a ton of Fnatic playing Bank, but it's been historically for such a long time Nora's favorite.
And that's the question. Were they waiting for this for quite a while? I remind everybody, for 6 Major, guess what? G2 didn't play a certain map called Consulate for quite a while, ever since Atlantic City, where they lost it against Team Liquid. For 3 months, they kept it in the back, and guess what? The strategy that Shaz was cooking up, their coach, ended up working in that grand final. It was the first time they played it. It was against Evil Geniuses with a defeat 6-2, 6-2, 6-2 in the grand final in Paris. And is that going to be a similar thing here for Fnatic in the preparation?
It's always scary to play against a team that you don't really have a lot of data on, because if they don't play the map a lot, what are you really trying to counter-strat? You got to kind of hope that your strategy is good enough no matter what they bring.
Yeah, I really do feel like Fnatic will be deploying their trap card here, and from a Nora-Rengo perspective, how will they take this? It's something you and I were having a chat about the other night, right? Sometimes it's not about counter-stratting the specific strategies that these teams are bringing to the table. You have to counter-strat the team and the playstyle. And that's the one thing that is reasonably consistent with Fnatic. They might bring some, different strategies in terms of like a setup every now and then. But the one thing that is consistent for Fnatic is their strong individual play and their on-point communication and chemistry. That's what they're known for, and they always have been.
And then truly being willing to, take a few risks that on paper doesn't make sense, but in practice, it's so infuriating to play against.
All right, well, we talk about paper and the theory, but it's time to put it all to the test. Ladies and gentlemen, to kick off 6 Invitational 2019 from APAC, it's Fnatic, Nora-Rengo, and guess what? Intero and Kickstar are going to bring it home. Enjoy, boys.
Thank you so much, Milos. Welcome to the 6th Invitational, and our first matchup of the day is just moments away. Michael, feels like it's only been a year since we were last here.
Oh yeah, only a year.
Only a year.
Surprised that this annual event, it's only been a year.
That's how it works.
Yep.
Yes.
So amazing match.
We were talking before we got into this about how you're a little disappointed that both Fnatic and Nora-Rengo have to do battle in the first round.
Yeah, it's a sad thing to see 2 APAC teams go against each other in the quarters, but it does guarantee we will have one in the semis, as has been discussed. And on a map like Bank, it's going to be an interesting contest. So, as we load into the map, we'll have Fnatic starting on defense, Nora on attack, as is evident. And because of that, again, Fnatic will be banning first. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a sad thing to see the two APAC teams go head-to-head like this.
At least it guarantees an APAC team in the semifinals, which is really nice.
Yeah, but also on top of that, I mean, they're going to be playing the winner of the only Latin American teams match as well, Liquid. So we could potentially see two regions eliminated just through 2 matches in this quarters and semis later.
Right. So first ban's going to be Hibana. A hard breacher ban on Bank is pretty commonplace, all things considered. It's unfortunate for the team that has to ban first, because usually that's where your ban ends up going.
Hibana, of course, is a typical ban on Bank. We've talked about this every single time it happens, and it's not surprising in the least. Glaz as well, being able to see through those smokes, so crucial, especially when you're going for a server take, which is, I mean, we're dead in the server meta right now. There's just no maneuvering away from that. We've seen some teams try and do things differently. Reciprocity during this event has gone for some back takes on basement Bank, but it's not very common to see anything other than a server take. The defender bans also very in line with the current meta, of course, as has been discussed many times. 2 information ops being banned on the defense in both Echo and Valkyrie. And that's a lot of indirect denial as well, with not only the C4, but the Yokai drones.
Valk's a good operator on Bank, no matter what team plays it. We know Reciprocity hates playing against Valk, but most teams that play up against Nora-Rengo have to take her out because, you know, you've got Waka who plays it extremely well, and as you noted, we're deep in the what did you say? It was the CCTV meta downstairs.
The server take meta, yeah.
But we're also in the information meta when it comes to defending operators. So
I mean, the thing is, we've been straying towards that information meta since DLC number 2 when Valkyrie came out. I mean, it's been a slow trickle into that, but that's been the direction all of the operators have been going for quite a long time on defense. And here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, finally into the action. It'll be a basement Bank defense to start things off.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Not really a surprise here to start on the basement. That's usually why you see that hard breacher go first, trying to defend CCTV downstairs with a possibility of the triple threat of Maverick, Thermite, and Hibana is really uncomfortable for a lot of teams.
Yeah, that's why we've been seeing Maverick brought so many times as well. And he's, if I'm not mistaken, Maverick's been one of the more banned operators as well. He gets put into a corner.
Yeah. Because basically what you're going to do with your Maverick is you're going to take him into one of the hatches inside of open area, maybe inside of that small office that's in there as well, and just make life really difficult for the defenders, because most teams won't be able to take both hatches out. They won't even try to. They'll use their exothermic charges elsewhere, so that'll essentially open up one of the hatches in open area, and then you'll have the other one in the small office with a couple poke holes in it that a Maverick can sit at, or a Jackal can possibly sit at if he doesn't go towards the other open patch. So we'll see exactly how Nora-Rengo is capable of lining up their troops. It's going to be Mario, at least for the time being, solo entering into lobby and droning himself in. Or I assume the rest of the team is probably going to do the second floor, then look towards open area. But already, Papilia is in up top. Grab some footprints and looks to try and hold somebody down on these server stairs. Michael, as you said, it's very commonplace for somebody to play on those server stairs. You can have an Ela with a shotgun, you can have a Smoke with a shotgun, a Mute with a shotgun. We've even seen Bandit Jaeger with a shotgun, but I wager Virtue is probably running that Carbine instead, because it's usually a bit more lethal.
Yeah, it's more often than not, it's going to be the Carbine on Jaeger, and there you can see, as the top fragger for Fnatic, it makes sense that he'll be put on Jaeger. Now, it's important to note that Maverick is capable of opening up 2 drop downs if you're incredibly efficient. And what is this? A hot drop from Ramu. He must have made a mistake. That could not have been deliberate. Looks like he just opens the drop when he doesn't expect it. So, poor calculation there on the Maverick play.
So you've got Magnet here playing with the shotgun. Virtue picking up his kill, and Magnet gets baited real hard on those server stairs. It's going to be 2 from Mario. The Ash just waltzes right in, takes some damage from the Goo Mine. But he trades out 2 members of Fnatic to keep us back at an even round count.
Low on manpower here, but high on utility is Fnatic. Only a minute here for Nora, but they've got control server. This is pretty standard efficiency for Nora, all things considered. As you can see, the wall's gonna be a little bit harder to Thermite because it's been opened up on the soft side, so Basil's gonna have to look a little bit for the angle, but I'm sure he'll be able to find it, as there is still plenty of space.
Got Rizraz as well playing deep inside of Garage, and Ace is on the smoke. It's a bit peculiar, but Rizraz makes it work. Right through those metal bars, he'll take out Racel. And the lead will go back in favor of Fnatic. Now, Waka up top watching this hatch is usually where a Jackal would play, but Papilia just got eliminated. He just lost Raysol. Waka's gonna drop. He gets torn to pieces. Lusty picks up his second kill, and Mario, who has 2 kills, will get no more. Fnatic takes the very first round of the 6 Invitational.
You know, I gotta be honest with you, Parker. In the pre-match, I was looking at the way that Fnatic and Nora were setting themselves up, and it seemed like Fnatic were a little bit tense. Nora, on the other hand, loose, but maybe a little bit too much, because what we just saw from Nora just now was excessively loose play. I have no idea what happened with Ramu through the drop down. I can't account for that.
It was accidental. So if you saw
gotta be accidental.
You saw the way he was doing it. He was doing 2 lines, and then he stalled a little bit on the 1 line. And I think that he realized, or I don't think he realized how much he'd actually taken out of it.
Right, and that stall, combined with the fact that he was sitting on the drop when he opened it, really makes you think that he's got to be under a lot of pressure and not thinking things through, or maybe overthinking things. Because apart from the death when he fell down, even if he had survived, it's unlikely he would have been able to open up 2 drop downs, because remember how I said you had to be very efficient with the blowtorch in order to make it happen? Well, he wasn't, and yeah, not a great round for Nora overall. Fnatic, honestly, just held out the standard push and lived up to expectations. A pretty static round from them, and those 2 picks in server, I gotta imagine they could have been detrimental to that defense.
10 seconds.
Like these notes that are being popped up on the right-hand side. Once again, major commendation to SiegeGG, who's been a staple over the last couple live events that we have done. For those that are looking to dive more into that statistic, these 2 teams played only a couple weeks apart. The first battle was Nora-Rengo defeating Fnatic for the first overall seed in the APAC finals in order to take seed number 1 and go to Rio. They actually won it 2-0 over the Aussies, but the Aussies had their revenge. Surprisingly, Nora-Rengo won that matchup 2-0 in Tokyo. Fnatic won their matchup 2-1 in Australia and Melbourne, to be specific, 2-1. Now, mind you, there needs to be an asterisk next to this, because this was before the Pro League rule set change. This was before Lion was auto-banned. This was before we moved up to 7. I was wondering if he was going to actually take that shot. Before we moved up to 7 rounds, and also before Ramu and Virtue were on these respective rosters. And I think you can say that just those 2 players make an awful difference.
Patience there from Mario really not paying off, as he was waiting for the opportune moment to take that shot, and now he, well, won't have any of those. You can guess Fnatic going to be playing a lot more passive after noticing Ash playing on the main lobby window. And it's a pretty common repel, all things considered. And wise for Fnatic to stay off those angles. Good drone work here from Nora to establish there's somebody playing inside of the elevator, and he has the drop down open for a rotation. You can expect Virtue to make full use of that rotation once he feels pressured, but he's got great support from his teammates, so he might be able to stay here for perceivably the whole round.
They're going to be cut off by smoke, as 2 of the 4 smokes on Nora-Rengo's side of things will rain out. Waka on Dokkaebi this time, thrown on the main stairs. We'll be there to send out a second logic bomb now as well. Fnatic have good crossfires established if there's a push up that main stairs to try and pinch out on Virtue. It's now overhealed by the dock of Magnet and will just patiently wait.
I cannot believe that the angle's not being played here by either player, and I'll start laying out some shots, but no one landing them until Waka takes down Magnet. First frag here for Nora in this round. Aces will refrag onto Papilia, so it's not all over yet for Fnatic. Rizraz from behind, down by Waka, who has just inched his way out of Banana. Mario, another one, and there we go! It's Nora to take their first round.
Couple mistakes there from Fnatic, not to turn off the phones inside of Banana, and Waka on his belly. Army crawled his entire way around those 4 windows through the connector and then basically into sight at that point, as you noted, with all of Fnatic's coverage looking towards the top of stairs, because there hadn't been a dedicated push yet towards the top of those stairs and towards the elevators.
I have to blame that on a lack of control or lack of aggression, lack of anything really from Fnatic. They were just sitting and waiting, and it worked out for them in the last round defending the basement. In fact, the aggression was the worst part of that hold, where they were playing inside of server. Not a necessary play, typically considered more of an aggressive play. And it cost them. So I imagine Fnatic were trying to adjust here, be a little bit more passive, but certainly the wrong site for that. You could do it in the basement, I wouldn't say you could do it on CEO. Once you lose control of those main lobby stairs, the attackers have great access to Banana and then reception later. And if they can push in there, they put themselves in a great position to propel themselves into B or A. Either or, it doesn't matter. Usually it's going to come down to just frags on CEO unless you're pushing from square into CEO walls.
Right. So a very similar lineup being ran from Fnatic for the time being. But that one wall that appeared to be shot out looks like it might be getting reinforced, so a bit of a small change from Aces here. A mirror window that they had on the conference wall for Fnatic really did not help at all, and I think they realized that you can put it in a position where it's going to pay off a little bit better.
Yeah, one thing I noticed about that last round as well is that we had a lot of crossfires being established from Fnatic, but none of them were on those main lobby stairs. Like this one, for example, that you could see Virtue setting up through that wall as he plays inside an elevator. That one is going to have control over the entrance to reception, but it won't help at all with the main lobby stairs. And nobody, again, from Fnatic, were trying to control main lobby. It's an easy access beachhead for Nora, and it's too much power for Fnatic to be giving away for free.
Mario was hesitant on this rappel previously, which can get punished really well by somebody on an ACOG. This could be a Maestro, an Echo, a Doc, a Rook, etc. Whoever wants to engage in that fight. Very tellingly, Fnatic will be more reserved and not decide to try to pick him off of the rappel. But
yeah,
Mario last time could have very easily landed a kill onto Magnet, but was very patient. I don't know what the greater goal of that was, if he just wanted to be stealthy and maybe get a higher priority. I'm not entirely certain.
Probably waiting for an easier shot to be lined up so he doesn't miss and then lose out on any future opportunities. But yeah, he's going to be patient yet again. And like you said, telling that Fnatic are not peeking any of these angles. Also, very surprising they did not reinforce the wall that you see Mario looking through right now, as it will allow him to cut off rotation in the main hallway.
There's 3 bodies on the main stairs as we're going to see 2 of the smoke grenades go off. Ramu opens things up onto Magnet. A good starting frag as the logic bombs will reveal the positions of the 4 remaining members of Fnatic, but there's Papilia. Just sprints on in. The Jackal gets a big 2-piece with Ramu picking up his second and Virtue. His position given away will be on the hunt with Waka, basically confronting him, waiting in front of this elevator door. What is the Jaeger going to do? A good shot from Virtue Diffuser going down, but Papilia, 3 kills on the round, and CEO is not the play for Fnatic through these 2 unsuccessful defenses. The CCTV unlocking Michael. Likely they'll go back downstairs.
Very likely indeed, Parker. And you're right, CEO, not the play. But why isn't it? I would say it's very much less the defenders being outplayed or outmaneuvered, and very much more them allowing Nora to have way too much ground. I think Fnatic needs to get a little bit more aggressive. I think they need to maintain control over CEO for a little bit longer. Put some pressure on the attack. Don't just let them set up, lay down smoke cover, and rush into sight. What is that? Also, nobody covering banana entrance to the little antechamber. I have no idea what's going on with the defense from Fnatic, but there are so many holes, and it's something they're going to need to improve on moving forward if they choose to go to CEO again. Now, we've talked about how consecutive losses on one site that just seem to be very much against the team who's defending it can really be a huge detriment later in the match. And those 2 rounds that we just saw Fnatic lose could be all that is required for them to lose this map as a whole.
I mean, I'm very surprised how little there was a contest, or how little of a contest there was on those main lobby stairs, straight up. Nora-Rengo did basically the exact same thing they did last time around. Yeah. They opened up the wall that looks towards the elevators. They had 3 bodies on lobby stairs. There was no C4 that was available, no counterpunch. Didn't have a bulletproof camera that at least we saw, or an Evil Eye that was in a position to give you that information. And once Nora-Rengo started their execute, Fnatic were just sitting ducks. And that was exactly why the Jackal was able to catch 2 of them off guard. Ramu got that opening pick, and then that ball just continued rolling down the hill. And Virtue was a good shot, don't get me wrong, and has, at least heading into this match, the best stats of any player that is currently competing. You're not going to win a 1v5 in that situation when you're a Jaeger with all your utility preset and the attackers still having some of their gadgets left.
And here's the thing. The attack that Nora have been bringing out on CEO is the most meta attack we have on that side right now. And people are attacking from the main lobby at this event pretty consistently, and I'm surprised that the setup for Fnatic has so many holes in it. But still have opportunities to correct the mistake. Actually, right this second, of course, they're got to be thinking about how they can improve that defense of CEO moving forward, because the way they've set it up right now is just zero control. And the smokes, now it's worth noting though, Nora are disabling what little control there is for Fnatic by laying out the smokes. And that's why we have that zero line defense, because Nora are reading what Fnatic are doing and countering it directly.
One of the follies as well is that you have to set up so that if they attack from Skylight or from over on stock/janitorial, you have a defense there, right? Which is where one of the mirror windows appeared to be placed by the members of Fnatic, was just in case Nora-Rengo decides to go, okay, we'll attack from Skylight, which is pretty common, all things considered.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been seeing Skylight attacks quite a lot as well, and hi, Nora. We've been seeing Skylight attacks quite a lot as well, but I have to say, at this event, CEO main lobby takes, it's a little bit more common.
So we're just waiting for everything to get set back up to roll in once again, and it did appear that until we moved out of the game that it was going to be a basement defense.
It did appear, and I would imagine it would be.
The problem that Fnatic is going to have was that they were gifted an opening kill by Ramu dropping unexpectedly, which is very unlikely to happen the second time.
It's true, I mean, but at the same time, Fnatic gifted 2 back by server to Mario, so
that's true.
It equalized a little bit, but on that note, actually, that's what I wanted to talk about, is the way the Fnatic seem to be right now, a little bit stiff. Feels like they need to loosen up. I mean, the best performances we've ever had from Fnatic, in fact, the best performances we've had from many teams have been when they just go into these events trying to play their best match, but not letting the pressure get to them. I mean, of course, right? But it certainly seems, by the way we've been seeing Fnatic play over the last 3 rounds, the pressure might be because we've seen some very stiff positioning. Virtue is a good example. When he was defending a CEO, he's playing inside of the elevator. And granted, his job is to hold in elevator for as long as he can, play the angles that are available to him. But what Virtue should have done as soon as he saw the smokes is rotate to be more effective, because his angles are all disabled by Nora's smokes. We'll see if Fnatic can get wise to that and adjust accordingly. That's going to be on their shoulders. We have everything ready to go, and we'll be loading back into the match. Again, it's Bank. We're only 3 rounds in, and Nora find themselves up 2-1.
One of the things you just saw on your screen there is how the API at these live events is able to give information to the audience, and we have it tied up very similar to what was debuted at the the second Invitational, rather, the one last year. Was that you can essentially tie the operators and their pictures and their face cams all in, and we've also got stat tracking, persistent stat tracking actually available for the audience, which is really nice. So they don't need to look too far to just glance up and see that scoreboard that is adorning the main monitor that we have. And there you go, look at that.
Attackers need to locate.
Obviously it will be all zeros, and then it switches over to their utility as well.
Yeah, it has been a rehost, so you can match the stats.
Scores don't carry over.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. See, so it shows you all the active utility and everything. Very similar to what we see as the pop-up on the screen as well. And to the best of my knowledge, this is the very first time that we've actually shown this off on the main stage to the rest of the audience. It hasn't been available just behind the scenes.
Good feature. Lusty going to be bringing Capcan. Quite interesting. Not too crazy on a map like Bank. There are a lot of doorways to clear out, and it can waste time. Remember last time we saw Nora attacking in the basement, and they had server control within 2 minutes. 1 minute left in the round, and I told you that's decent efficiency. Well, it is, as much as it might not seem like it. And if you could shave off 15, 20 seconds with those Capcan traps, it'll be way, way worth it, especially defending the bottom floor.
So, what was I going to say here?
It looks like we're having another rehost.
No.
Round of applause, then.
Yeah, everybody cheer.
Well deserved.
Cheer for yourselves, cheer for Fnatic, cheer for Nora-Rengo. So interesting about the way that we saw Fnatic set up was, number one, it looked almost identical to what we had seen from their setup previously when they were downstairs. The only major changes you noted was that the Legion was gone and the Capcan was subbed in. Now, if you know that your opponents take a really long period of time to establish map control, when they transition to that execute, they don't really have the time nor the ability to start shooting out those Capcan traps if you've nestled them in the doorways deep in sight. Now, some teams will use them as entry points. We saw this from G2 and Pro League in particular, and Fabian in that great 1v3 clutch that he had. He established most of the traps on areas that were just out.
What is going on?
Welcome to Rainbow Six.
Yeah, that's actually kind of hot in this venue.
You mean temperature, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Obviously, Parker.
It's time for Fnatic to one-up them at that point.
Come on, Magnet.
Take it off.
No, but actually on that note, look at the faces of Fnatic.
Yeah.
Very focused. They're very invested.
The one thing that you can note as well is that whenever there's time between these rounds and between the match being set back up, you use that to the full potential to figure out what's going wrong. And a lot of times that can benefit the team that is on the losing side of momentum, because you can allow the team that's really hot to kind of cool off, and you can really delve into what's going on, as long as you don't take that time to start fighting with each other, of course. But if you right the ship, so to speak, you start talking to each other, as you can see Fnatic is not really doing, then you have an opportunity to maybe be able to figure out exactly what's going wrong, address it, and really plot out a much deeper strategy round by round by round. Now, I'd imagine that Fnatic probably knows how to play CCTV without much of a discussion.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, if there's little things you want to change, this is the time to be able to talk about it.
Again, if I were Fnatic in this situation, I think the little things that I would be changing around is based on the way that they've been playing it, again, not very dynamic, static positioning. I would imagine they're going to want to pull things back and sit a little bit safer in sight. But that depends on how their mentality is going into this match. If they're able to change their mentality and get into the Fnatic where, I mean, I'm used to seeing at least, then maybe, yeah, get aggressive on server. But another thing, we didn't even talk about is when that Ella died at the bottom of server stairs, how the heck did he not hear somebody coming down the stairs? I have no idea. I mean, it was just a curiously free kill. With an Ella shotgun in that situation, should have been a double kill for the Ella.
I mean, if I remember correctly, it was Magnet turning around to try and run away from, I think he was getting droned, and there was a Jackal coming in at the time, so he was anticipating a push. I think he was running back for cover, and when both members of Fnatic lined up, that's when the push from Nora-Rengo happened. It could have just been that it was, a bad timing for Fnatic, all things considered.
I mean, it was certainly bad timing. I'm questioning that as well, but yeah, the lack of taking the fight is the main thing I'm taking away from what...
You've got the FO12, you probably have at least one mine set up somewhere, you're probably going to win that fight at close range. That shotgun just shreds.
How commonly do we see an Ella contesting the top of the server stairs? That's the common thing. That's the way you play with that shotgun, right? Not at the bottom, not waiting to die. But again, that's also partially just Nora playing well.
It's dinner and a show here.
Yeah. Good timing.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Now, looking at the way that Nora-Rengo was lining up their drones and lining up their spawns, etc., the only real thing that we can see is that it looked like it was going to be another lobby take, and that there was going to be more of a pressure inside of open area from a couple members, including the hard breachers, which is really just how it plays out every single time, right?
It's standard. I mean, yeah, Bank is one of those maps that we can say every single time. There's usually 1 or 2 attack strategies for each site, but it varies, and usually it's based on the meta. Like right now, CEO, you can't attack from Skylight. Most teams in this meta are attacking from main lobby.
Right. So it's, barring any unforeseen circumstances, it looks like we're back in.
We should have the match primed and ready for you guys, and we'll...
There we go. You clapped
back.
when it went down. You can clap when it goes back up. I feel like Jeb Bush saying, please clap.
I don't know that one.
You really need to.
I know.
You really need to.
We've been through this, Parker. I really do, and I never will. So it's going to be basement defense once again from Fnatic. This is the one site they managed to win, and it was a I want to say a decisive victory, but not so much. I mean, we saw the free kills on both sides of the fence, and then the team who should have won it in that situation did, Fnatic. In basement defense, you got all the utility. Yeah, you're gonna take that.
It's really hard to underscore how important Ramu living in that circumstance was. Number one, you lose control of a body that can watch those hatches. Number two, you lose control of the second hatch that his blowtorch was likely gonna poke holes in.
Yeah.
Which means that a rotate from Garage over towards Vault, over towards the site, is not really possible if that Maverick stays alive. Because the Maverick dies early, that hatch stays safe, and you only have the Thermite, who at that point had used his exothermic charge on one of the hatches, and then translating the second one into destruction on the wall, leading into CCTV. So you didn't really have any options there. Because of that, there was half of the site that Fnatic could rotate through without worry.
I like this setup right now from Fnatic a whole lot more than what we saw from them in the first round. They could be a little bit more focused on playing a dynamic hold on the server stairs. The shotgun kind of puts you in a little bit of a pigeonhole on how you can actually hold that. Whereas the SMG, you can fall off the shield, you can play around the shield, you can fall into server all the way back to site and still be useful. The Kishimats as well, I mean, always going to be. That's why L is the one who gets played there. It's gonna be a very fast clear of the top floor here for Nora. Standard fare for Bank. They've also got the Jackal, as it has been left unbanned, and that's going to assist them quite a lot in clearing out the potential roamers, of which there are none, unless you count server, which nobody does.
Yeah. All right, so what are we gonna see here? Magnet playing aggressively, he falls off right away as there's a frag grenade being cooked from Waka, who's now on the buck roll, equipping the skeleton key. And you mentioned how aggressively that the Ela could play on those stairs. Well, Magnet just gets out of there like a bat out of hell. He just flees. Keep in mind that as there's a shotgun in hand for Magnet, he's gonna get back as quickly as he can. There's also a shotgun in hand on attack. Yeah, the skeleton key doesn't do a ton of damage, but in a pinch, and in close enough range, Waka can shred through most people with that.
Because he's playing with the more dynamic gun on Ela, he's going to be useful, again, as I said, when he falls back to site. That's really great to see. I love the pacing from Fnatic so far. Nora as well have had amazing efficiency. Again, 1 minute on the timer, you're doing good to have control of server and already get default wall. That is a nice take. It mostly has to do with the fact that Nora are clearing the top 2 floors so very quickly with excellent drone work and roam hunters.
This is where the old bank juggle starts to happen. Feed all the information in. What a shot from Rizraz! And he'll hand Mariu a seat for the next 30 seconds. They're just waiting for Raisel to get the call to go in and start to get that diffuser down, as Rizraz still holds the angle all the way in. Then Elda's a powerful weapon. There goes a toxic gas canister as well, thrown out from Aces. Rizraz picks up a second and diffuser will fall to the ground. A good play from Virtue to take out Waka, and Nora-Rengo just do not look able to translate the same success on CCTV or on CEO to CCTV. Virtue will pick up his second as Papilio on main stairs, afflicted by that goo mine in his foot. He's only got 5 seconds left. He's gonna twist and spin as Aces rushes on up, and Fnatic will be perfect on that basement site. But the trickier task is that there's 3 other sites on Bank that you need to win, and so far, you've only seen 1 out of Fnatic. They lost it both times.
CEO definitely not going to be the play for Fnatic, and I am super happy to see that they will be going to Teller's office archives. That's going to give us a much better contest, considering what CEO has been so far. Now, one thing to note that really, I think, secured the round just there for Fnatic is the pixel angle from Garage onto default plant spot. It's a pretty common angle. I mean, it's not just a pretty common angle, it's one of the most commonly played angles on that entire site, period. When you don't have utility to juggle, you just got the guns to shoot, that's where you need to deny the diffuse plant from. And, well, it happened. Great job to Riz to do just that. Apart from that, though, Fnatic still had plenty of counterplant utility in hand. So even if the angle had not been successful for the Maestro, or he maybe had just gotten 1 kill, he's still having a good day, and so are the rest of Fnatic. The counter from Nora just wasn't there. I also gotta hand it to Virtue. for getting aggressive on that drop down. Peeking into it, taking the fight to the enemy, that's exactly what cost Fnatic. The fact that they didn't do that while defending CEO. They are going to defend CEO, but it's a roam game here, and they're actually defending Tellers. So it's a little bit of a different setup from Fnatic. It's going to allow them more flexibility and the potential to fall back in this round.
It's going to also make it so that Nora-Rengo have to be a little bit better with their time. Now, keep in mind that Nora-Rengo entered in through lobby very fast, but you can't really do the same thing when you know that the defense is going to be aggressively contesting both of those doorways, or at least could aggressively contest those doorways. There's going to be a bit more trepidation on the entry through the main doors here. It also means that Nora-Rengo will have to invest more time and effort to clear out the top. You can see that one of those breaching rounds from Mario will go and take out a castle barricade. That's some utility lost from both sides, but you anticipate that as a defense. That's why you establish those castle barricades in those positions.
Nora are already starting to poke holes in this defense, and they will finally take out one of the actual defenders. Virtue goes down, and it's a good pick to have very early in this round. Great job to Mario to manage it. He's already into main lobby too. He's looking to cut through the A-bomb site, and he's done just that. This is a difficult angle to play, but if nobody challenges you, you could see some free kills.
This could possibly be a big mistake of that smoke grenade that was used upstairs, though, because it doesn't appear that there's that much of an investment from Fnatic on that second floor anymore. They peeled back. You lost Virtue, okay, the dock is gone. Now you try to get in towards the main site. Lusty gets felled by an explosion, or gets damaged by an explosion in the wall, playing inside a beat by the bomb chassis. Ace is guarding one of the doorways, and Mario will get cut down as Magnet, tagged in from the back of Skylight Stairs, will push all the way on up. And he'll even things at a 4v4.
Looks like Mario hit the shelves. Not an ideal engagement there for the Ashe. And Magnet really happy about that one, and even more so as he'll get his second kill. Raysil going for a long challenge. He has the advantage to the ACOG, but he can't land the shots, and he's going to fall off that one, having eaten a lot of damage.
These dual UMPs as well can cause havoc here if Nora-Rengo doesn't invest in a flank watch. That's exactly what we see right now. As Rizraz pushing up into open area could be able to establish a flank of his own. As 3 bodies from Nora-Rengo all the way up on the counter. Oh, Lusty, you peek a little poorly and Papilia will make you pay. But there's Magnet with 3 kills. Looking for them all. He's holding the doorway with a Zofia just on the outside of that. The UMP is not a high damage weapon, but can do quite well. His ace will be denied by Aces. A bit of a comical name there as a second C4 connects. And it's all up to Ramus. Not holding off on that diffuser. Magnet, a 4 kill. An impressive round and a good bounce back from Fnatic to take Teller's Archives in their second successful defense in a row.
Love to see the presence here from Fnatic, and Nora, not a great round there. They seemed a little bit distracted, and that's the thing I think that cost them the most. Some of their drones were clearing from Skylight, but it was a main lobby take? You can't be having that much of a coverage as the attacking team when the site is underneath. You need to clear out the top floor, yes. But if you're gonna clear from both Skylight and main lobby, then it should be Skylight first, connect with the main lobby, push in the main, lobby, and then go for the take in through Tellers. That's the strategy, that's the play. But Nora seemed to be skipping a few steps there, a little bit confused. Their drones were too far from the actual attack, and a serious lack of information, as well as flank watching on the side of Nora, really did end up costing them. Apart from that, some pretty puzzling lost fights. It all started with Nora losing Mario in that main lobby. I think Mario thought he hit the shot, but I think he hit the shelf, which is not a great situation.
So, third crack at CEO and the very final defense for Fnatic before we swap sides here. And I would imagine that we will probably see some tinkering from the Australian team.
Yeah.
Number 1, Nora-Rengo has gone for a lobby take twice in a row. If there's a time for them to go for a Skylight stairwell play, it's probably right now. So the biggest issue with Fnatic is you still need to juggle your utility to anticipate which side they're going to come from. But with a lobby push, Magnet ran a dock before, but they never established any bulletproof cameras or any real coverage leading out towards the lobby. Valkyrie is banned, so you don't have her available. There's no pulse that's going to play underneath. So very hesitant to say that Fnatic has actually changed all that much just looking at their setup right now.
I mean, they've got the mirror window inside of storage facing to meeting hall, which is the complete reverse of what we usually see. There's also nobody playing inside of elevators. In general, Fnatic are playing a whole lot more passive here on CEO. B has effectively been abandoned. The only one playing inside of it is Rizraz behind the couch. Everyone else from Fnatic is playing in either storage or the A bomb site, as you can see from this top down.
So the setup looks similar. The mirror windows have been moved farther back, and essentially what they're going to do is something that we actually have seen a strategy out of Space Station Gaming do, which is you set up very far back and you essentially try to contest them in Janitor, and then you can open up a mirror window and be able to pick them off if you need to retake. With the hatches being opened up, Virtue can also go for a flank, which he has done. He's on Skylight Stairwell. And Nora-Rengo, I don't think, have the information here that they need. They're smoking off the exact same points of contact at the top of the stairs and are pushing on up. Fnatic are extremely turtled at the moment, and Virtue will not be able to land an anti-flank at all. He gets torn to pieces by Ramu, and an easy read on Skylight Stairwell will leave Fnatic in a position where they are down one body.
Yeah, Virtue was going for a pretty deep flank there, and it really hurt him. And he's not going to be a presence on site now. I feel like Nora is aware of the potential for rotations, and they're really cutting them off this time. They don't want to make the same mistakes they've been making previously in this match. But Nora are all stacked up on Banana right now and clearing onto the bottom floor as well as the north windows. Papilia is going to get a kill there, and that seemed to be from Skylight. He's now the flank player for Nora, trying to come in from behind. And there's not a whole lot of presence from Fnatic to watch this. Nora have full B-site control. Papilia gets another one. Magnet will refrag onto Ramu, playing inside of A, and he's still alive. Down, but he's a dock, and Waka's going to finally shut him down. Nora win every single round, attacking on CEO.
Major negligence there by Fnatic to not know that the pressure is coming through Skylight Stairwell. You just lost Lusty at the top of the stairs, midway towards Janitor. You've got two bodies from Fnatic playing in Janitor on dual mirror windows. And Papilia just walks on up and guns down the mirror, then pivots to do the same thing to the Maestro. I don't know if there wasn't a call. I don't know if there wasn't any wherewithal from anybody on Fnatic, but there you have it. You see the Jackal just walks up, gets a kill, he just keeps going, and nobody stops him and nobody lets the rest of Fnatic know, hey, there's a Jackal hot on your heels.
I mean, Parker, I know the half is over. Fnatic can't defend again unless we get to overtime, but you gotta imagine if they had made the call just to not go to CEO at that point, everything that Fnatic tried there on CEO did not work. They tried, well, twice the same defense, and it was not great. The third and final one we just witnessed, the rotations, I actually liked their adjustments, the way that they were trying to handle the aggression from the attack coming from the main lobby. But they just couldn't hold on to it regardless. And as you noted, that flank, such good timing from the Jackal.
Ramu was there to take out flank watch number 1. Papilia comes in, takes out flank watch number 2. That's where everything went wrong here. The setup deep in sight was great. You saw that Nora-Rengo kind of languished in front of Banana and then in front of the CEO or the executive office part before they could move in towards the B site, which is where the rest of their team was playing. But the Skylight coverage was so poor that you just didn't have enough resources to watch.
Could you imagine if Fnatic had Virtue in that round? If he was still present and accounted for, able to hold the flank? I mean, it's over now. That's the half. It's a 3-3. All things considered, as we have discussed many times, that leaves Nora in the driver's seat, as they will have taken an even amount of attacker rounds on a defender-sided map. 60%, in fact, defense success rate here.
I like everything that I see from Nora-Rengo. This is really peak bank meta at the moment. You've got a pulse on the board. He's going to sit inside of server. He can rotate back to CCTV roughly about halfway through the round, unless Fnatic get really crazy with their time. And then you put Mario inside of gold to just be able to quarterback that old juggle as we were talking about. So, good positioning for Nora-Rengo, and Fnatic is going to respond with about as typical a bank lineup as possible. So nothing really that strange when we look at these two teams.
Magnet has been very efficient with the blowtorch so far. He's missed a few ticks, but he might just be able to get 2 drop downs. We're going to see. It's going to be a close one, but since he, has a decent chunk left, I think it's possible he can, should he choose to, but that's up to him. Other than that, Fnatic trying to clear into server. They're going to thermite the drop down, it looks like, and it'll be to try and assist in the clear itself, but they might actually salvage that exothermic. As yeah, it looks like Aces realizes he doesn't need to use it. So we've got one drop down open. Fnatic have control of server. It's a minute 30. Remember when we were saying a minute left in the round is efficient? Well, Fnatic have one-upped Nora in their first attacking round. The question is, will they be able to deal with the juggle, the C4, the gas canisters, the Evil Eyes, and even the Elegajmats?
Ramu's playing inside a garage, very similar to where we saw Rizraz and a lot of other teams play, to have that long angle to be able to get to the doorway when the plant starts to happen. Got Mario playing inside of gold. He's going to be able to give information to Waka, and it looks like a C4 might have been expended too early. That can be very damning for Nora-Rengo, as indeed Waka used it a bit too fast, and nobody from Fnatic loses any HP. The real wild card in this round is we only have 50 seconds left. It's going to be Papilia. The Ela is playing on main stairs right now, and at any moment, she could possibly spring on up to try and help in a retake, should the defuse go down. As you know, controlling those hatches can be so difficult.
Ramu playing a long angle, but he's shut down by Magnet. What a flank, we didn't even notice it. Excellent positioning here from the Maverick, and now Fnatic have full control. They've cut off red because the wall is left unreinforced. Waka stuck in smoke, and no way to deny the potential plant, but it's not happening just yet. Fnatic are going slow on this one. Papilia's trying to challenge into garage, and he's going to lose the fight. How does he do it? Magnet gets 2 for the price of 1. Virtue will shut down Waka. Magnet is on the floor, but it doesn't matter at this point. It's just Raysil. He's got to hold on for 3 seconds. He will shut down Rizraz. The diffuser has been planted though, so it's not gonna matter. With so little HP, he doesn't even seem to know that Magnet is down inside garage. Going for the push into A. He's not in a great position here, but he has to commit to a play. This lack of knowledge is crippling Raysil's clutch potential. Goes to the mirror window. Not gonna even try to use that. He knows no one's left to themselves exposed to it. Shotgun out, nope, it's an SMG, and it's gonna be a switch. Virtue will shut him down inside a server. Fnatic take the first attacking round.
How elusive Magnet was to be able to get all the way into garage as quickly as he did. He didn't bother with that second hatch. He opened up a small circle inside of open area, which is really all you need, so that the defenders can't rotate, as I mentioned, out of garage. They can't rotate through hallway because that hatch overlooks the drop right in front of vault, or red as a lot of teams will call it. It was good control from Fnatic to watch those hatches, and I really feel for Nora-Rengo. They used their utility a little bit too early on. That C4 that went out from the Mira was very poorly timed. And because of that, you allow Fnatic to realize, hey, one of their biggest tools for plant denial is gone. We can get more aggressive here because they can only shut us down with one C4, which is going to come from the Pulse. And in order for him to do that, it means that they'll be blind for a couple seconds on intel inside of gold. That's exactly when Magnet struck, was right after that C4 went off, and then you saw that Papilia had to push on up. Raysil, who was sitting inside of B, was no use and could not get over towards where the plant was going off, and he was just left all alone as Fnatic chopped them up one by one by one. So now we'll move back to CCTV downstairs, and there's a couple changes here. They put Waka on the Ela. I would imagine that she's probably going to be running the FO12, or no, still running the Scorpion, interestingly enough. No shotgun server defense, at least for the time being, on those stairs from Nora-Rengo. We've got Papilia as well on the ADS. A Jaeger who was absent before will be able to shut down any projectiles or throwables that go on it.
5 seconds left.
That Magnet play. That was the hero play.
It's a sneaky boy.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
He is.
Attackers must locate.
Nora gonna go back to the basement as discussed, and okay, so usually we'll say doubling down isn't a great option, but I'll be honest, if you cannot defend a basement of Bank, then you're gonna have a really hard time winning the map, unless you've practiced and practiced and practiced on every other site, because this is meant to be the go-to for every team in the current meta. Nora should be able to hold this the second try, and we'll go back to the we'll go to an even round count, 4-4. But that attack from Fnatic was so well played last round, it makes me want to believe that they can accomplish it once more.
Things get really difficult here just based on site rotation if Nora-Rengo fails on this site, because then you'd imagine they will probably go to Teller's Archives, or they'll go upstairs to CEO, because you're not going to try CCTV a third time after having failed it twice. At least take a bit of a breather and go somewhere else. If you win your next 2 sites, you'll have to go back to CCTV unless we see Nora-Rengo completely forego that play and go to open area instead, which the play rate for open area has taken a substantial nosedive through this tournament.
Yeah, it certainly has. Not many teams actually daring to go there. Very quick round here from Fnatic. Halfway through the round, they've already got both the server walls open. And what is this? A 4-man flank from Nora. Ram was gonna get one kill. Claymore gets another. But look, Fnatic are aware they have full site control and they're trying to make the rotation happen. But it's a clash as Nora comes back to site and Mariu will eliminate Rizraz. What a shotgun blast from Raysil to finish off Aces. Virtue with a frag on to Mariu, but that's all that Fnatic have gotten out of this engagement. He's still deep inside ball, trying to challenge it to B, but not landing his shots. His teammate Lusty tried to go for the flank watch, and because of that is now on the flank himself in an excellent position to potentially catch Nora much off guard.
Nora knows they've got the diffuser down right inside the middle of B. It's basically an unwinnable situation for Fnatic unless they simply out-frag the rest of Nora-Rengo. Because you can't get that diffuser back unless they rush in and take out Raysil. You have Papilia very low on HP and now Raysil as well, so it's definitely winnable. There you go, Lusty will finish him off, and it's a full lock, but the diffuser still being neglected. Ramu gets down from Virtue, and there you have it. Fnatic is just fragging out. Papilia sitting just inside of A site, waiting patiently. What he's going to be able to accomplish is Lusty will go for a plant. We've only had one diffuser go down so far in this matchup. As good a time as any to grab another. Amidst the shroud of smoke is Papilia, who will creep on up ever so slightly, but he is one bullet away from death from any gun. Virtue at a reinforced wall could possibly have Lusty's back here. It's going to be a juggle as Papilia walks around and Virtue will shut it down. The Aussies will take yet another round, and that's 2 losses on CCTV, mirroring the 2 losses on CEO from Fnatic. We have a scoreline of 5-3 right now for Fnatic.
What a beautiful round through and through, no matter who you're rooting for. The ebb and flow was truly wonderful to watch. We saw Nora establishing a standard wall defense inside of Bank. Then they go for a 4-man push up the main stairs to accomplish some flanks. They don't get a whole lot out of the flank, but when Fnatic sees the opportunity that site is available and they seize on that, Nora come crashing back down from the main stairs, and it's an absolute brawl, but Fnatic somehow managed to come out on top, despite Nora looking very strong at the beginning of those engagements. Well done to the clutch from Fnatic, truly impressive.
So we have a technical pause here so these teams can talk amongst themselves and regroup and figure out exactly what to do. Once again, noting that this is as good a time as any to be able to discuss. Last time it was Fnatic who was the beneficiary of that longer pause. This one I think is going to be indisputably Nora-Rengo. It's funny how they basically switched sides. You had a 4-man flank and Fnatic said, boy, the site's free, let's take it. So they ran right in.
We have site control, let's seize the opportunity. And that's the thing, that's the crazy thing, is it actually punished Fnatic. It worked against them quite substantially, and then despite that, we still saw the clutch from Lusty and Virtue. That duo play between them was truly wonderful. Their understanding of where they could be pressured, the utility at hand, using those smokes to get the plant down, just in general, it was a wonderful, wonderful play. Lusty was the hero though, because we saw the back and forth, right? The confrontations on different levels. Nora goes upstairs. They take the edge on that one. They come out on top in terms of frags. Then they come back downstairs, and again, they take the edge on that one. They come out on top in frags. But the one lone flank from Fnatic, Lusty, coming from the main stairs, who was supposed to be a flank watch, yes, but ended up becoming the flanker himself, allowing for a clutch for Fnatic. Beautiful play from both teams. Fnatic just happened to be the ones slightly ahead of the curve. But it's all said and done now, and we will get back into the action. It's gonna be a defense of CEO from Nora. We have yet to see a successful defense, but this is also Nora's very first attempt. Fnatic really struggled up here. Makes you wonder, are they going to struggle on attack as well?
Similar lineup from Nora-Rengo that we saw from Fnatic on CEO. Difference is that the double ACOS we brought out with Mariu playing on Rook. As for Fnatic, there's potential to actually take advantage of the fact that there's a Jaeger once again absent from Nora-Rengo's composition here. The 2 smokes from Lusty will be able to go off without any contest whatsoever. It was the same thing when Nora-Rengo attacked, as you had both Papilia and Waka playing operators with smoke, so they were able to get those off. Virtue's ADS is not really being much of an issue, so both teams looking to, I guess, kind of forego that throwable denial that we see. But I'd imagine that Nora-Rengo is probably going to play very aggressively, given the fact that they do have those 2 ACOGs, and try to prevent Fnatic from being able to take that lobby and take that map control as quickly as they themselves did on attack against Fnatic.
Well, it certainly hasn't been that quick. I mean, we were seeing it a lot faster from Nora on the previous half. Fnatic are setting themselves up a little bit more deliberately. And it seems like they're going for a square or skylight take, which is a very different attack strategy. It's the other attack strategy option you have on this site in the current meta. And a little bit less common at this tournament, but still very prevalent.
I mean, you basically give up those 2 CEO walls, you try to push back as far as you can, and then just hold off the horde, essentially. The only person from Fnatic who was bothering to drone out that main lobby was Rizraz, but he's on repel of those connector windows, and then also on the A windows too, where he still will be, and looks like he's going back on drone. There's one of those CEO walls taken on behalf of Fnatic. Oh, if Bracelet doesn't look, it'll be an easy kill for Magnet to start off the round. Not expecting that blowtorch to have the length to go through 2 walls.
What a play from Magnet to make it happen. And he's going to start pushing his way downstairs. There are no defenders downstairs. All 4 of them set up in an array to hold on to the sites. Magnet could very easily come up the main lobby stairs. He's got to go through 2 sets of barbed wire to get there, though. So it's going to be tricky. As Maverick, he actually is the perfect operator to do that. On main stairs, there is no barbed wire. Potentially, and very likely, some Legion traps, and in fact, a Legion himself. So that will be what Magnet has to contest on that flank.
You got Papilia playing a rotate hole from the backside of Banana to be able to look all the way down the hallway. He's also going to hold off anybody coming from over in lobby, and wow, what a shot from Rizraz. But Ramu is there, takes out Magnet, cuts him down. Now the Legion will look over towards the Skylight, where Virtue is playing, and try and possibly provoke a fight. Some information will be given to the Legion should Virtue push on up, as a Gubine is tossed in front of him. For the time being, Virtue will just move on over. Lusty also has coverage, as an EMP will go off, and he could catch the Legion very easily. Ramu drawn out by the flashing lights of the Thatcher EMP. And leaves just Papilia and Mariu, those 2 ACOGs. The Doc will sprint on up, head on over to Stock. He might be able to catch Lusty here, but he's looking in the wrong way. We'll have to see a plank go down. His time is running out, and this is actually very winnable for Nora-Rengo if Fnatic doesn't get their house in order. Diffuser going down, Lusty will try to grab one, but Papilia will win the fight. Aces has only 1 person covering him. Diffuser goes down, so a side of relief, but Mariu cuts down Aces. And Rizraz on the repel will have to be tasked with holding off on 2 bodies. If one of them goes for the jump out, could possibly cut the Ash down, and then the other stick to defuse. There you go for Rizraz. He'll open up the only cover he has. It's going to be tough. Oh no, he'll miss! Nora-Rengo managed to win the round, and the look on Rizraz's face will say it all, as that went from almost impossible to improbable to winnable in the span of 10 seconds. A graceful recovery and a massive victory to stave off match point and try and regain their momentum.
Nora should not have won that round.
No world.
No world do they win that round. And it all comes down, in my mind, to Papilia's play on Doc. He started from the end of Banana. He rotated his way into the main hallway by Meeting Hall and made the push after Lusty came off of that flank watch. And that was really what did it. Lusty was the person put on flank watch inside a Stock to deny the push. Why didn't he stay there? He had to leave to lay down smokes, which would allow for the defuse to be planted in CEO. Truly unfortunate allocation of manpower from Fnatic, allowing for an easy flank from Papilia, and a lot of frags for him, great control for him. I'm honestly surprised he didn't deny the plant as well. He was inside of storage for a while there, and he had line of sight onto the planter. Just didn't shoot him. I wasn't sure what was going on there, to be honest. It didn't look like smoke was covering him. Unfortunate to see. Doesn't matter. Nora won the round anyway. They'll go to Tellers for their next defense. Not going to be trying that basement again.
This is what I said about how the rotation gets very difficult, though, for Nora-Rengo. Not to try and downplay what just happened, because that was an impressive as hell round.
Yeah.
But if they win Teller's Archives, they are tasked with going back to CCTV, where they have not been very successful, or gambling on Open Area, a site that very few teams are really that comfortable on, if we're being completely honest.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Open Area is a difficult site to hold, and there are a few easy attack strategies for that floor. Most of it just comes down to vertical control. Once you establish vertical control, I mean, you can isolate the bomb site, get the plan nice and easy. Magnet missing an opportunity there.
Papilia was free, but there's a hesitation from the Buck.
I mean, he didn't expect anyone on an angle. We've all done it before. You peek, you're just doing it to do it. You don't actually think anyone's gonna be there. But when they are, you need to be able to react.
It's very likely a drone that was able to guide them through open area and be able to see that somebody might have been in there, but basically a lot of times you're just gonna drone out, can I get in through the window? That's really all I want.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened, not anticipating a possible contest once you do hop in towards the printer side of open area.
So Nora are defending Tellers, but they've got two people positioned on the top floor. It's gonna be the Rook and the Doc, Mario and Waka in the combo. Downstairs is Papilia, and what a shot! Virtue goes down, that was a clean angle. Hard to hit those by the bars. From behind, he's being confronted by Rizrat. We'll shut him down. So refrag here for Fnatic, that's big. They did lose the Thatcher though, which is a pretty big hit.
Massive win for Nora-Rengo, just on utility for utility. There might have been a C4 that was in the hands of the Bandit, but that's really all you're gonna lose. You got a 3-speed with a good gun, but the EMPs will be pretty important. Not really if you actually look at this composition. The only person that's really gonna directly counter is Ramu, and that's if it ends up being in range of the cardiac sensor, because the rest of Nora-Rengo, well, you have the electronics or gadgets outside of those barbed wires, which will persist, but your hard destruction is likely gonna go in towards the main lobby, which may or may not be bandited.
We got some Bandit batteries and CEO walls allowing for Mario and Waka to defend that top floor, but it's a primary defense of Tellers, as we discussed earlier. Ramu and Raysil are those two anchors that will need to hold on, and Fnatic really unsure where they want to push from right now. It looks like they're going to be setting up for a take into Archives, which in this situation probably makes the most sense. We got some soft walls from Archives to small office, which is uncommon. A lack of droning will result in a waste of utility here from Magnet. He's throwing these nades in. There's no one in Archives, and they could know that. Ramu is playing inside of A with a rotation and potential C4 holes where he can deny the push into Archives as well.
There's been zero attempt to flush out the Rook-Doc combo that Nora-Rengo has from above, and they could be able to get a very easy kill on the Magnet as he just walks right into the line of fire, not realizing there's still somebody from above. Fnatic's inability to establish map control over the site will be their undoing, as now Lusty falls as well, and Nora-Rengo have everything going for them. They're gunning them down. Aces in a hopeless situation, and Fnatic, ignoring that second floor, bodes so well for Nora-Rengo, who just take full advantage of all that real estate, and we have a tie game now.
I don't necessarily think, well, partially it was Fnatic ignoring the second floor, but they also lost the Thatcher. And when they lost the Thatcher, there were Bandit batteries on the CEO walls to Skylight. Because of that, Thermite would have had a hard time opening it up. I think that they just figured, hey, let's allocate our manpower to the push instead of trying to clear top floor. What does it really matter, right? Archives, it must have been droned out. Fnatic calls, it's clear, but it was a trap. And it was a well-established trap by Nora, expecting Fnatic to seize the opportunity on site control, as they have in the past. If you recall, that basement defense from Nora earlier, where Fnatic was like, oh, there's no one on site, we're gonna go ahead and walk in then. And they took that control well in hand. Fnatic actually managed to win that round, but this time Nora were ready. And they set up the trap, it was sprung, and it was an easy hold. They should have cleared top floor. I mean, is really the, as you were saying, it's all there is to it.
Or at least know that there's somebody up there.
Yeah,
I can forgive, exactly, I can forgive the fact that those Bandit batteries make your entry to the second floor difficult.
You gotta go somewhere else.
Exactly, but what I can't really overlook is the fact that you didn't know that all of these kill holes were established. And they were pre-established a while ago. These were not new.
Yeah.
Like, so you have to be able to know that and understand that, and that was something that Fnatic did overlook. Now, with both teams tied up, 5, based on pure math, we have match point for one of the two at the end of Nora-Rengo's third crack at this bottom site. Didn't exactly have the best go of it the first 2 times, not one here just yet. And here's a big change for them. Already, Nora-Rengo putting bodies upstairs. Both defenses that Nora-Rengo lost were due to the fact they had 5 bodies on site. One time was that 4-man flank, which was a little odd. The other time it was just they lost control of the hatches, and it was played exceedingly well by Fnatic in order to push and then go for the plant, and they managed time so effectively. The roam that is being established from Nora-Rengo right now, as we saw the rotate from open area into archives, could possibly kill enough time that Fnatic struggles in the final minute of this round.
Could be a repel in here for Rizraz. Following his teammates' drones, as you can see, it's focused on taking top 4 control. A very slow round so far from Fnatic. We've only got 2 roamers from Nora, but they're on the middle floor. And Fnatic are gonna have to get a little bit more aggressive, speed things up to clear out these roamers. Waka comes up main stairs to die to Magnet. A seriously questionable decision there from Waka. And not only have they just lost their only 3 armor, their only ACOG, but also the Evil Eyes will no longer move, which means if they're in a bad spot, it's gonna be really hard to defend. Elevator control bandited to allow for rotations for Nora to go down main stairs. So Hilly is gonna eat some damage elsewhere in an engagement. Lusty will take down Raysil. That's downstairs in the site, one of the anchors. And Ramu going for, again, a very deep roam. Mario trying to hold on to server control. Nora are all over the place right now, and Fnatic are taking full advantage. That's been the story of this round so far.
Magnet looked like he was going to go through Garage as well, but he'll fall off. Rizraz taken out by Papilia as these 2 off-site players from Nora-Rengo have not been found just yet. Ramu obviously has the cloaking ability, and he'll finally get spotted. Papilia gets gunned down as well, so this gamble on the 3 bodies up top will not really pay off, at least not netting much success outside of Rizraz. Mario does have hatch control, 40 seconds to go, but in a 1v4, 1 Nitro cell, and that's it. It's a tough place to find themselves. If there's a push over towards Vault, then Mario could very likely be cut off from being able to help his team. He's being distracted by Virtue on server stairs, and it's an easy finish for Virtue as the Bandit decides to take the fight, and Virtue will put his team on match point there. Michael, what were they thinking with Waka playing elevator on first floor to try and control lobby?
I mean,
Vigil inside of Teller's archives.
For pretty much that entire round, Nora had no anchors. And I mean no anchors. They were playing as aggressively as possible. Bandit was playing server stairs for the majority of that round. We had pushes up the main stairs, control over archives, and Tellers. No presence on the top floor, but overall, a really odd setup for Nora. Fnatic, all they needed to do was shift gears into hunting roamers rather than clearing into the site. Then it worked out great for them. Enough said. As to what Nora was thinking, they were trying to change up their strategy. There's nothing else to really say. I understand why, too. They've gone to the basement 3 times now, and they've lost it 3 times. That's also why we see a tactical timeout here. Nora really need to think about how they're going to handle their next defense. They can go to CEO, which was the first time they won on defense, and I'm sure they will, but they really can't be losing this round, of course, because we're on match point.
This is Fnatic's map, so it's not really much of a surprise to see Fnatic with the lead, though that doesn't always stick. Credit to Nora-Rengo to be able to keep this one as close as they have. Villa is map number 2, that is Nora-Rengo's pick. If you look at the way that these teams have played, Fnatic in the group stages defeated Reciprocity 7-5 on Villa, and that was all we saw from them on that map in particular. As for Nora-Rengo, they didn't play Villa at all in the group stages. So maybe, particularly hide something specifically for this moment. It's a good opportunity to do so. In fact, these 2 teams have never played each other on Villa because the map lists on the previous matches were Bank Consulate twice, Coastline twice, Border once, and Clubhouse once. And of course, we do have one of those maps remaining as our tiebreaker. That'll be Border.
Guarantee you the lack of playing this map, or rather the next map, Villa, in the group stages, straight advantage. The fact that there's no VODs in recent history of you on that map is quite substantial, as all of these teams are heavily researching their opponents as soon as they have an opportunity to, whenever they're not playing, to be honest. So, that's next map. Here on Bank, the very last defensive round for Nora in their set. Potentially the last round on this map total. and they get to go to CEO. Again, a site that they have seen success on in the past.
Attackers are moving out.
But they only won that because, as we said, mistakes from Fnatic's side of things and the great read that we had from Nora-Rengo. It was a 3v2 in favor of Fnatic with full site control and the ability to get that diffuser down.
Yeah.
And yet still Fnatic lost it. They had a number of bodies looking the wrong way, and there was that ballsy jump out onto Raz that worked.
Riz went for the weapon switch. I think that's really what did him in. Maybe he was low on ammo, but it was curious because he didn't seem to have expended any, but that's all in the past. Here in the present, we have Fnatic going for a take onto the balcony coming from the back alley spawn.
Only change on Nora-Rengo's lineup is the fact that they have put Ramu on the pulse. They've foregone the lesion. As for Fnatic's side, Rizraz unleashes the beard. Now, if you're going to play on the windows, Ash is a fine operator.
Yeah.
But if you're going to play on the windows, Michael, Blackbeard's not the worst operator to have.
Blackbeard is not the worst operator. He's also not a fine operator for a window repel. He is the best operator for a window repel. It is his job. It's what he does. It's good to see Rizraz on this operator. See what he can accomplish with it. He did a pretty good job as Ash, all things considered, despite the, what a run out from Raysil. And, well, we talked about how valuable Blackbeard is on the North Repel, and that is why Raysil committed to the push. He might even get away with it. He's getting close to that rotation, but Magnet might be able to catch him in the exactly that. Lining up the shot, doesn't want to mess it up, and he won't. Easy headshot there on Raysil. He, of course, could see him detected through the wall the whole time as he was on the outside of the building.
So easy a shot, not even Magnet could miss that one.
I mean, he's been landing his shots today, Parker, to be fair.
So a good gamble, though. Take out Rizraz, and probably one of the best operators that you're going to want to have in your hands in a post plant, while also wasting 2 minutes of time. Because you saw that Fnatic had to scramble to see who exactly was going to take that fight to try and finish off the castle.
Yeah.
Ultimately ended up being Magnet, but now that Buck, whose one frag grenade earlier almost took out Waka, 2 stim pistols were used from Papilia to be able to get Waka back to full health. But that means that Magnet's now going to have to commit to a rotate. Papilia now moving into the lobby to look towards those windows, possibly grab somebody on Repel who's playing. Waka gets down from a frag grenade, could possibly drop through, but it's Magnet finishing it off. Virtue in position as he confronts one of the mirror windows, but there's Ramu. Takes out Magnet. We're back at a 3v3, but time dramatically favors Nora-Rengo at the moment. None of those walls, except for the right wall, have been opened up, and it doesn't look like Fnatic want to take that one bit, as Ace's fight with Mariu will take both of the operators down a little bit of HP. It's go time for both teams when you've got the C4 denial of Ramu below. Mariu can just very easily watch one of the openings. He'll take out Aces, and this is tough for Fnatic. Another one for Mario, as it's now all up to Virtue, who walks in. He can't land the shots. He'll get it onto Mariu, but runs out of time, and Nora-Rengo gets the sweepstakes on the clock, and we will go to overtime. Match 1, OT, of course we need it.
What a round there from Mariu and from Nora as a whole. Locking it out. I mean, to be honest with you, despite the run out on North Window, I still thought that Fnatic had a good chance of recovering that round. They really could have done with having Blackbeard in a position to disrupt the play from Mariu in sight, as we all saw just now. But honestly, it was a decent attempt at a recovery from Fnatic. The real problem, they were fixated on the mirror window inside a meeting hall. And you know what? There was nobody from Nora playing it. It was abandoned throughout the whole round. The mirror pushed into storage, got picked off, done. Nobody else on that Nora lineup tried to rotate into the mirror window to replace it. And Fnatic were so distracted by it. They kept pivoting around it, assuming that it was full control in favor of the defense, assuming they could not make the push into meeting hall. And because they afforded Nora that ground for free, it really cost them. I get why Fnatic did that though, because one of the first picks for Fnatic when going for the actual site push was Magnet. Where was he? Inside of storage. That's huge. That is, hey, don't push storage into meeting hall, broadcasted on full volume by Nora, and, well, Fnatic heard it. Now, here's the really difficult thing, Parker. We're going into OT, and Nora get to defend first.
They'll go up to CEO, which makes a lot of sense. They won it both times. The only other site they won was Tellers, and that was a pristine round from them as well on Tellers, where they had control of that second floor.
We saw very similar halves for both teams. I mean, Fnatic couldn't defend the basement for some reason, and Nora couldn't Well, actually, rather CEO, and then Nora couldn't defend the basement. It was the opposite of what I was trying to say initially.
Yes. That's okay, it happens.
It does happen. But yeah, kind of a bit of a repeat here for both teams on separate sites. And that's why we see it go to the 6-6.
It's going to be a Skylight Stairwell take now as well for Fnatic, because that's where they're lining up their bodies. The only major change from Fnatic is Magnet is off of that Maverick, which had actually been working very well for Fnatic, so I'm a bit confused as to that change. The issue with their takes on CEO upstairs, I don't think, were the Maverick at all. But knowing that there's no Jaeger on Nora-Rengo's defense, most of the time, you can load up with operators with throwables and projectiles. You can load up with Zophias. You can go crazy with Yings, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Magnet will go on the Ying. There will be no Zofia, and so you've got two sets of smokes, or two smokes rather, one set on Lusty. You've got, you likely have concussions as well, as there's the first Candela that will go, and it will allow Aces to open up the wall as we see a flash of light inside of the A-bomb site. Ace is doing a good job to be able to just hold that position. It was Rizraz has fallen off of the windows. He's just sitting at Skylight Stairwell, obviously fearing the run out this time.
Yeah, sensible. I think having more pushing power, more muscle coming from Skylight in this situation, probably the right call from Fnatic. Better not to take the risk and still have your Blackbeard be a very powerful flank watch. And he's going to be doing just that, as well as cutting off angles in sight. Just not going to be much of a crossfire. Magnet actually has gone on North Repel, so Fnatic are trying to get everything here, but they've mixed up the roles a little bit. It's curious.
Very interesting. The only member of Nora-Rengo who's not on site at the moment is Ramu. He's playing downstairs in Teller's Archives as the Pulse. He's just going to continuously feed this info to the rest of his team. It looked like he understood that Magnet was on Repel, but he's in a position where cutting him down is very difficult. The second UMP on Nora-Rengo's side of things is Raisel, and he's now dropped down. A good shot from Virtue as Mario peeks, but Virtue gets traded off by Ramu. The Pulse's position on this main floor is now aware of, or is now made aware to Fnatic, and this is something that Rizraz can hold off on flank watch. As you noted, that Blackbeard is just sitting at the top of Skylight Stairs.
There's two players from Nora inside of the main lobby, and they're going to start rotating back as we tick down to the last 25 seconds. Pulse going to be pushing up stairs, actually, curiously, and the castle will be the one going underneath. Not what you would expect. Pulse will drop down. Papillia and Waka left hold on to those anchor positions. Raysil's winning out on his fights, but not getting any kills just yet. It's the Candelas to try and disrupt, and Magnet will repel in while Aces plants behind the A-bomb, but a C4 from Ramu will deny that plan. Raysil also gets Rizraz, and it's gonna be a complete flurry from Nora. Fnatic just not able to hack it in time, and they will not get the diffuser down thanks to the C4 from below.
So you attack Teller's Archives as Fnatic, and you don't bother to work on that second floor. Raisel, as well as Ramu's position downstairs, maybe not Raisel, but definitely Ramu's position downstairs, was known because that's where he was able to get a kill in Tellers and then keep on moving into Archives. But then nobody pushes him. You put Rizraz in a position to possibly flank watch, but he was looking all the way into the sights. I don't know, it's choice calls that are being made by Fnatic that Nora-Rengo are reading, and if Nora-Rengo aren't reading them, then they're just benefiting from the fact that Fnatic doesn't have somebody looking in the one position where they should really be looking.
The word I would use to describe Fnatic thus far through this match, rigid. A lot of the same attack strategy coming out, variations of them. The way that they pushed Magnet onto the North Repel and put Blackbeard by Skylight, technically that's a good call, I would say, in that situation. But time and time again, Magnet and the rest of his team are suffering from a lack of flank hold, a lack of roam clear, just in general, no presence outside of the actual take into the site, which we've seen be the downfall of a lot of attacking teams. But it is disheartening to see it here for Fnatic as we're coming so very close to the end of this first map. Now, of course, it'll be the first team to make it to the 8 rounds who will take this. So Fnatic's gonna need 2. Nora now, after winning that last one, will only need the 1. And it switches back and forth, so Fnatic get to go to their defense. Nora were really good at defending CEO, but where else were they successful at defending Parker?
CCTV? Or Teller's Archives, Michael?
No, I mean, Teller's Archives, yeah, it'd be Teller's
Yes, on the main floor.
Yep, that would be the one.
They were unsuccessful on CCTV.
Yeah, they could not hold the bottom floor, which means that Nora are gonna be going to a site that, in theory, could give an opportunity to Fnatic. It's going to put them in a good position in potentially the last round, but that is dependent on Fnatic winning this basement defense.
Which has been done every time.
Yeah, they haven't lost it yet.
They haven't lost it yet. So if you're Fnatic, you're looking at a trend line breaking, which will cost you not just the game, but also your map, and that is what needs to be underscored here. Nora-Rengo will bring a Montaigne for the very first time, interestingly enough. Montaigne is an operator who sees quite a bit of play in APAC. He sees quite a bit of play everywhere, but it does seem that his pick rate in APAC tends to be a little bit higher. He's a must ban, if I remember correctly, in a couple matches against various APAC teams. I think it was a must ban against Mantis FPS, but I can't exactly recall right now. So for the Monty, instead of lining him up on server, might be rotating now, but Waka was in a position where he was on the main stairs. You could just walk right in between the two sites and try to walk over towards Vault. Server control in hand for Nora-Rengo, or at least the stairs, as the rest of the team will work down, confronted with the barbed wire. Smery will take point and now go on to drone to let the rest of the team know exactly where to go. And there you have it. Waka on the Montaigne has now moved on over to server. Just under a minute and a half left, though, so things could get pretty scary for Nora-Rengo here on time.
We haven't been seeing a whole lot of Montaigne, and to be honest, he's a really powerful tool while attacking the bottom floor. This could be the difference maker for Nora. The fact that they haven't been able to win any of these defenses, or rather attacks, could change right here.
He's going to wait for the push to come in. It also looked like Waka threw some smokes in, but
no, it was stuns. He's got stuns on.
Stuns on the Montaigne. All right, well, there you go. So the only smokes that you'll have will be Papilia. The minute to go, there goes your first toxic canister to stop the Montaigne as he walks back. It looks like a second will go off as well as a smoke. Talbot, an incredibly beautiful shot from Rizraz. He'll look to go for another right as that smoke clears. There's Waka in front, being a guardian for the rest of his team. The second reinforced wall into A will blow up. And Ramu above. Oh no, Rizraz, but Ramu misses! Oh, that was a free kill, as free as you can possibly get. Waka takes out Rizraz as the Maestro tries to push back. Raisel getting the plant down, and Nora-Rengo in great position. Mario watching for cover as Raisel is able to get the planter down successfully. And now Fnatic will be in a lot of trouble. Mario and Raisel and Waka are very low. Aces will gun down Waka, and now Ramu expecting a push from above. Almost sees the head, but can't land the shots. There you go, he'll take down Magnet. And Fnatic with Virtue and Aces to try and retake. The hatch control is gonna be tough, and there you get it. It's 2 in a row. Nora-Rengo take the map. What a performance from them. They steal it away from Fnatic.
Very impressively done there from Nora, and I gotta say, the shield play from Waka was the MVP of that round. Very impressive that they managed to make it happen. And having that shield push into sight, established excellent control. Now, following the Montaigne play, Fnatic are gonna have to adjust, but it's too little too late for this map. So, seriously unfortunate for them, having lost the first one. They still have potential though. Villa, Border, of course, gonna be our next two. Border though, only possible, not entirely definitive.
Only time we saw Bank get played by Fnatic in the group stages, it was a loss to FaZe 8-7. If you look at the Nora-Rengo matchup, they beat Penta 7-2 on Bank. This was a good map, all things considered, for Nora-Rengo heading into this matchup. So not really a surprise to see it as close as we did. As we mentioned, though, in the very first map, Villa, no VODs from Nora-Rengo. That's pretty good for the team, all things considered.
Yeah.
You've likely prepared. You don't wait to drop a map that you just don't typically play in the middle of a tournament, especially not when you haven't ran through it in the tournament, you haven't played it previously against your opponents. You're saving things for that. Either that or you really horribly lost the map ban phase, which is definitely possible, but I don't think a team of Nora-Rengo's caliber is going to be in that position to be able to say that they lost it that definitively.
I think we also need to take a step back here and say that, well, Fnatic really should have won Bank. If we're talking about the map ban phase, then it seemed like it was going to be their map. And honestly, the way that they were playing it, yeah, they were in line for it. In fact, the way that it ended up playing out for both teams was incredibly static and predictable up until the very last round. And again, Waka, the hero, on Montaigne to give us that upset. But it's still only that one round that really matters in the end, I suppose, as it went the full distance.
that 3v2 is going to haunt Fnatic if they end up losing this series for the rest of possibly their time on that team.
I mean, you got to imagine for Fnatic that a big part of going into map number 2 is going to be recovering from that previous loss. It's a pretty heavy mental blow, especially when the stakes are so high.
Yeah, you got to reset here. To take the time to think about what exactly went wrong without dwelling too much on the negatives. Center yourself and get ready for map 2. That's really it. It's a completely different game and you have to be prepared for that. Both of these teams, I don't question their ability to keep their emotions in check. I mean, hey, look, even in defeat, Nora-Rengo looks like an exceedingly happy team. They're obviously winning right now as they're up 1 map and they look overjoyed, as we could see it, the celebration before they ran off for the break between the 2 maps, whereas Fnatic looked devastated. But if Fnatic can keep their emotions in check, then we're going to have just as even a map here on Villa between the 2 teams as I think we saw on Bank.
Parker, I was talking about this in the pre-match. It looked like going into map number 1, Fnatic were really stressed out. I mean, you could just see it on their faces, to be honest. That's the way that it seemed. Nora, on the other hand, jumping up and down and having fun and just trying to make the most out of this situation. And well, they did that. They got map number 1, and that's just going to add. It's going to compound the joy for Nora. And yeah, they're in a great spot mentally right now, but of course that's not all that matters. Nora landing a lot of shots, having a really good match generally. The synergy has been through the roof for Nora-Rengo. Their synergy is not typically one thing that you would point a finger at and say is amazing, but today it's been really well put together. Only doing what your job is and allowing your teammates to do theirs is pretty impressive.
So, we look to Villa as map number 2 between the 2 APAC representatives. Guaranteeing one of them will be seen tomorrow in our semifinal. Will we have another map to play, or will this be all she wrote? Well, we'll find out in about an hour or so. Let's load on in. Nora-Rengo will defend first, and they will take first ban as well. And you got to think, Fnatic, probably pretty typical. They're going to ban a Valkyrie on defense if you're Fnatic. Attack, undetermined. Nora-Rengo didn't really like the Maverick being played all that much by Fnatic, so they'll take him out of the board, or take him off the board and leave us with the 2 traditional hard breachers, as Fnatic didn't really like the Jackal play either, as we saw how well he worked from Papilia. Now, worth noting that both Bank and Villa give us the 2 biggest maps in the map pool by complete square footage. Obviously, some of that of Villa is the basement, which often gets underutilized. But when you look at the way that an operator like Jackal works, if you look at the way that you absolutely need to be able to drone as effectively as you do, then I think it makes a lot of sense for Fnatic to take the Jackal out and force Nora-Rengo's executes to be a little bit more perfect. Valkyrie and Mira will be our final 2 bans as we'll get underway with round number 1 here on Villa.
So, defense first, huge advantage here for Nora. But we saw that same advantage for Fnatic in the previous map. So, it balances out. The fact that Fnatic lost Bank, meaning even more knowing that. Trophy room, statuary for the first defense here from Nora. Nothing surprising going on just yet. Operator selection very much in line for Norm. Important to note, we have neither a Maestro ban nor a Echo ban, which is uncommon to say the least. Overall, though, still some information ops being banned out on the defense.
Just feel like when you're playing walk-on international competition, he just needs to get used to the fact that he will never play Valkyrie, ever.
True.
Unless somebody on his team ends up stepping up and playing a defensive operator better.
I mean,
it's going to be the Valkyrie ban at least 9 times out of 10.
Valkyrie has a pretty high ban rate so far for this tournament. Not just against Nora, but also against the Latin American teams, for example. I mean, there are teams that just ban it outright. Doesn't matter who they're playing against. For example, Reciprocity. Just get rid of it. It's their most banned defensive operator.
He's also, I believe, the 4th most banned defender after Mira, Maestro, and Echo in traditional Pro League play as well. So
makes sense, yeah.
It's not even necessarily just online play, right? But
it's information.
It's absolutely information.
Yeah, and she kind of forces you to bring an IQ, which you're going to do on Villa most of the time anyway. But she does kind of, you have to do it if Valkyrie's not banned. So, we do see the IQ. It is Rizraz bringing that, or, yeah, the names are messed up, by the way, at the top of the screen. Just don't worry about that. It is Rizraz bringing the IQ, as you can see. And we have actually a substantial amount of 3-speeds here on Fnatic, as Virtue gets picked up very early.
Wow, and you take up Ash as well. Virtue has been on so many supporting ops so far through this map in particular, and through much of the stretch of the qualifiers, and then, or rather, the group stages. To lose somebody who's such a potent fragger early on is obviously not the greatest thing here for the team.
Virtue did not have the most amazing first map. If we're being honest, it was a little bit odd to see. Fnatic definitely could have used that extra fragging power. The absolute dominance that Fnatic had throughout the group stages was in part thanks to Virtue's performance. Apelia is going to get another kill, and okay, here we go. Fnatic are falling apart at the seams. They've lost not only their primary fragger, but also their primary anti-utility, and now they are properly named Fnatic.
I think if you're a fan of Fnatic, you really have to worry about the inability to just figure out where everybody is. Aces behind the shield and pulls out his gun as it's a joint effort with Rizraz there, but they'll miss. A second body was lined up, but that's a lot of HP that Fnatic just lost on what should have been a fairly routine clear. All you do is net Papilia, with Walk able to soften up another member before heading off.
Should have been a routine clear, should have been a routine free kill as well. Yes. Surprising that it wasn't, and you're right, Rizraz being on low HP might just be the final nail in the coffin here for Fnatic, if we're being honest, because Aces is still a presence as Blitz, but he's not a fragger. It's going to put all of it, in terms of fragging power, onto Lusty's shoulders.
Also worth noting that because Lusty is the only person at full HP and will be the one to get the diffuser down as well, he's going to be extremely susceptible and softened up by Raysil's smokes. You know that he's likely going to inhale some of that toxic gas as he tries to go for the plant. So everybody on Fnatic will likely lose a bit of HP here, as only 30 seconds, and well, Fnatic haven't really been able to organize themselves all that effectively. Nora-Rengo contesting multiple places just outside a trophy statuary, with a couple bodies inside of B, the smoke position to be able to guard off the bathroom, and there's the first toxic canister. Maryu will grab one onto Rizraz, a beautiful shot, but there wasn't much left of the IQ, all things considered. Aces will try to sprint on forward, but there'll be Maryu to be able to shoot away at the legs. Lusty crouched down. Maryu pulls out the pistol. You're not able to get it. Aces is there, takes out Waka. This is going to be very difficult for the Blitz, who will just have to frag out, but it's a double kill from Nora-Rengo to finish the round. And they'll go up 1-0. Michael, all of that fell to pieces for Fnatic before they were able to get more than even a room into the map.
That was a pretty bad round for Fnatic, yeah. You could see what happened there pretty clear. They tried to go for a roam. Wow, what a shot from Waka. They tried to go for a roam clear, and once it failed, once they lost so much manpower clearing in from the south, they decided, you know what, we'll just hit it for Master. Do everything we can to make it work. And, well, it didn't. It certainly did not. Nora managed to lock it out following their roamers being successful. The anchors were as well. It was a pretty clear-cut victory.
This inability to be able to figure out where people are playing off-site is going to doom Fnatic if they don't fix this. Now, they were gifted a couple rounds on Bank because of how loose and how disjointed Nora-Rengo's roam ended up being. And additionally, Nora-Rengo was doing some really puzzling things. Disjointed or not, having your Maestro solo engaging all the way to lobby while there's nobody there to really back him up with the Vigil lying prone down in Archives is not exactly the play for a lot of teams. But overall, if Nora-Rengo can tighten up their roam, as we saw them do, establishing control on Bank on that second floor, and then again with the double UMPs playing underneath on Bank as well, then this defense for Nora-Rengo on an already defender-favored map could end up being an almost landslide that just buries Fnatic before they can even switch sides.
It's worrisome, Parker, and it's worrisome because not only could it be a landslide at the beginning on the first half of this map, but it's following a defeat for Fnatic, and that's going to get under your skin. If you lose map number 1 and then you're at the disadvantage going into map number 2, no matter what, that hurts. And we'll see what Fnatic could do to cancel that out. I personally believe that what needs to happen here for Fnatic is Virtue to start fragging. He needs to have a presence the same way he did in the group stages, because wow, did Virtue have presence in the group stages. But Magnet's going to be shut down by Maryu, and it's a good start for Nora already. And not only was that the first pick for Nora, but it was on to quite possibly the worst possible operator for Fnatic to lose. Yeah.
This is what I said. These puzzling way that Nora-Rengo roams is actually working on Villa.
Yeah.
It could just be simply that the droning that's going on behalf of Fnatic is not as tight as it needs to be. From our perspective here, there are a couple drones out at the moment trying to get information as best as they can. Both Virtue and Aces are sitting there just trying to gather information. But nobody from Fnatic really near each other, nobody really able to capitalize on anything. Papilia and Ramu inside of sight, Lusty downstairs, very disconnected, and this is a worry. Lusty is downstairs as one of your 2 hard breachers, and if you lose him, then, well, that's troubling. There's nobody possibly to trade him off either. And if Nora-Rengo understands this, possibly has somebody like Waka able to give that information, but Waka gets shut down by Virtue. Rizraz taken out by Mariu, so this Bandit is just wreaking havoc as he continues to do laps around the map. It's spotted by Aces, and I don't know if Mariu understands it. He's just been droned out. Part of the cover on the wall, gone. Mariu gets cut down in a crossfire established by Fnatic, and this is the clear that needs to happen.
Who is roaming in living room? And who gets hunted there as well? Mariu not only managed to get those kills, but also wasted a bunch of time for Fnatic. You gotta give it to Fnatic though. They committed fully to the roam clear. They were not dissuaded. They didn't adjust for a site take. And because of that, they have at least brought it back to an even man count. The tricky thing is 43 seconds against a Smoke, Legion, and Echo. That has to be the worst combination of 3 operators on defense to fight with 30 seconds in the round.
Tons of utility, great plant denial, and not a lot of gadgetry on Fnatic's side that can try and dislodge any of these anchors and disrupt them. Good impact trick from Papilia will be able to keep the vault in Nora-Rengo's favor, and they know exactly now from Nora-Rengo where Fnatic is going to come from. Feels like there's some pings going out as well, possibly from a Yokai drone, as Nora-Rengo just holds on. Exothermic charge goes off, and Fnatic will need to bull rush the site, but they're running out of time. There you go, Aces in, starts things off, guns down Ramu, Papilia trades him right back. Virtue is there, and Fnatic finds themselves in a good position, but the clock strikes 0, and Nora-Rengo just hides. They take 2 in a row.
Oh, that is unfortunate. You know, I was wondering why Papilia decided to come off of impact tricking the gun vault. He didn't need to. He really didn't need to. But he committed to it. He fell back, and they won anyway. And by they, of course, I mean Nora. Why? There's no time there. Why was there no time? Because Mariu managed to waste 2 minutes by himself. I mean, they even lost Waka early on for free, essentially. And then following that, Mariu doubled down on the roaming by himself, pulling the weight of 2 people. It's very impressive that he managed that, and it did give Nora the round pretty decisively. They're going to be going to kitchen now, because they've gone full circle.
Protect your bombs from being defused
So
by attackers.
the entry, and dare I say the fabled words, roam game, of Nora-Rengo was good. The entry and the ability to drone them out by Fnatic was also equally good, and better than we've seen in previous rounds and on previous maps from Fnatic. But the biggest nemesis was the fact that it wasn't quick enough. So congratulations, you're able to flush out where the defenders were that weren't playing on site, but your bigger adversary was the fact that you wasted 2 whole minutes doing so. On kitchen, the roam game is not really going to be that prevalent for Nora-Rengo. At least it shouldn't be, but Nora-Rengo does appear to be doing some things with different operators that tend to confound us a little bit. Most of your offsite presence from Nora-Rengo is going to go above. Sitting inside of Master, looking down on the kitchen, possibly being able to play exactly what we just saw from Waka, who, interestingly enough, is on a Frost. We see Frost played a fair bit on Villa when you have to try to defend and aggressively hold Master, because all those windows mean that the person who's vaulting in will have to either fight you or the trap below.
Yeah, there's a lot of entry points that are just those one vault windows. Fnatic are not going to be using them though. As you can see, they're droning their way all the way into storage. I mean, this is an interesting rush from Virtue, but he's not seen the Frost of Waka, who will get an excellent shot on Rizraz. What a headline there from the Frost. Virtue refrags it, really it goes down. And another one for Fnatic, as Aces eliminates Raysil by the main hallway. In fact, one of the roamers in Library. Mariu's gonna eliminate Magnet though, so it's a back and forth. Fnatic have worked their way into Laundry, and there's no one from Nora to deny the push into site besides Ramu. So this could be an easy 2 versus 1 for Aces and Lusty. Waka gets finally finished off by Virtue, who will have control of that storage room now. Ramu has been forced back because Virtue has control of storage, allowing Aces to come back to Laundry and potentially go for a plant. Ramu's trying to hold his flank, and he will do some damage and down the Hibana. Going for the secured kill. He's gonna get it. It's down to a 2-on-2. Mariu trying to flank, using the drop down. He might be caught in this though, and yes he will be. Aces shuts him down, and it's just Ramu. He's so lit though, and he has to delay for a minute 20. Diffuser going down, he knows this. Going for the C4, trying his best to deny it, but he can't deny the plant. And as it's down in the post, Fnatic have full control. Only one rotation, C4 used, no potential for another rotation to be established through those soft walls. Ramu's just looking for a long angle fight because he knows it's the only way he's gonna be able to bring this back. Detects one enemy, isn't sure about the crossfire, but he's sneaking in for it anyway. Virtue shuts him down, and Fnatic take their first round on Villa.
I was wondering when he was going to pull out that cardiac sensor, almost as if he forgot that he had it. You know, you got two bodies left, they're both in positions where 9 meters is definitely a length that you can get to be able to spot them. So it took a while, but he ended up finding it and he knew where Virtue was, so.
Excellent.
Didn't end up winning the fight. That really more than anything was just Fnatic realizing that, hey, if we just provoke them 1v1v1v1, we'll win the gunfights. And even if we trade off every now and then, we'll still be in a numbers advantage. Fnatic won almost every single gunfight, especially on Waka that we got to see front and center.
I also have to hand it to Fnatic. The way that they shifted that control, they were really quick into the building. They were aware that they shouldn't allow themselves to linger outside, as we see many teams often do on a kitchen attack. And trying to go in through Laundry, right? You're gonna try and open up the Laundry wall into the site. But all the while, you're gonna be watching your flank, and you're gonna be droning from outside, and it's gonna be 3 people stacked on Laundry, just trying to get a little bit of control. And you're gonna fall into that back and forth meta that is site denial from the defenders and entry utility from the attackers. And it's kind of, it allows teams on the attack especially to stall out, and it's one of the big reasons why we have a defender-sided meta right now. Not the only reason though, there's much more to it than that. Anyway, Fnatic avoided that entirely. How? They just rushed in through south. They knew it was clear, they had pre-placed drones on the south side of the building, and they took full advantage. They're aware that the roamers from Nora have been the bane of Fnatic's existence, so Fnatic said, hey, we're just gonna focus on site take and do our best to get the diffuser down. That was the priority throughout the round, and it was really evident. As soon as they had the crossfire, because Virtue had control of storage, it was an easy push through Laundry because the people defending the B-bomb site were pushed back into kitchen.
All right, so now back we go to Trophy, which was the very first site between the skirmish of Fnatic and Nora on this map, and Nora-Rengo won it. And once again was a very unconvincing entry from Fnatic. And in fact, they lost Magnet first, if I recall, which was the Ying that you wisely pointed out was one of the most important operators in the arsenal of Fnatic moving onwards. If you look at Fnatic's lineup, I would say you're still probably in that position.
Yeah.
And to protect the president, AKA Magnet.
I mean, you got 2 hard destructors, so losing one of them is not going to be the end of the world. Plus, I mean, it's a trophy attack, so you're going to need to open up the master wall, and apart from that, you could do without the hard destruction.
Just as long as you have a hard destructor to work with, that's really the big thing here. And you look at Nora-Rengo, Papillia is going to have impact, so he can likely impact Trick. Racel might be running impacts, but more likely he'll be running the old barbed wire along with Ramu. So really all you have to fear is what Papillia is going to be able to do to your hard destruction. If you can pick off the Legion early, then that'll be obviously a very important way for you to get into the site, or a very good way for you to get into the site, and an important early frag. But I would imagine the Legion's probably going to be playing in a position where he's not going to put himself in any real danger. There you have it. He's inside a bathroom, but he might get aggressive inside of bedroom, maybe?
I mean, right now we're just seeing a very standard push from Fnatic on the south side. They've cleared the top floor, there's no one roaming underneath them, so they know that they can start to push into A or B. Either or. They've got the Candelas for it. There is no Jaeger, so it's going to be pretty free for Fnatic to take that. Rizraz can confirm the lack of the Jaeger and make the push happen. But, I mean, Fnatic are taking all of their time to make this happen. And they have full control, they just have only just started to realize that.
Magnet's position was given away by that goo mine, so there's a possibility that Nora-Rengo is prepared for him to walk right on in. Once again, no Jaeger from Nora-Rengo. They have been opting to go without that operator, and I'm actually kind of surprised that Fnatic isn't taking greater advantage of the fact that there's nothing to stop projectiles or throwables. There's so many operators that you could use to just be able to take advantage of that and just overrun Nora-Rengo. An early toxic gas canister will go down, but there's still 30 seconds to go, so good timing, I suppose, for 2 more to follow. Waka's rotated downstairs, and he's got 2 pulses on his sensor, so to speak. One of which he should be able to jump upon. It's the Ash of Virtue. As they're back for the time being. This is a stalemate. Everybody's still alive, and there's 10 seconds to go. This is going to get messy. There's Waka, jumps on the Ash. Candelas go off. Aces is in, looking to go for a plant. Rizraz takes out Papilio, whereas Ramu on the Yokai drone. As Ramu falls off, there's a big C4 as Mariu gets a kill too, and Nora-Rengo in great position with Waka running on up. A 3K. And that will be the 3rd round for Nora-Rengo, winning their defense, as you should on Villa, and doing so quite impressively.
So in order to have a successful half here, Fnatic are going to have to win the next 2 rounds, and that does not seem likely. They managed to take Kitchen, yes, but they're going to have to go on to Aviator Games this time. And, well, last time we saw Aviator Games, it was a pretty easy holdout for Nora, if we're being honest. And a lot of it had to do with Mariu's roaming downstairs. Fnatic tried to clear it out, but they were, well, quite easily denied. And a lot of time was wasted. Mariu has been putting the frag back in Bandit, if I'm being honest. We've been talking about this actually a while. So Bandit has fallen out of favor a little bit as a fragging operator, which is odd to say, but he still gets brought for that purpose, just not everyone's successful on him, and Mariu has been, well, changing that here today.
All right. Well, how do you crack Aviator with the lineup that's being brought from Fnatic?
I mean, you've got the Habana, right? Mm-hmm. You cut off the lines of sight. You can disable, potentially, an anchor behind bar in A pretty easily. You could avoid the impact tricking. There is a bandit, though, and that's the really tricky thing. You've got impact tricking and bandit. Or you could try to go for a gunfall take, but that's pretty vulnerable to impact tricking as well, and much more vulnerable to the bandit tricking. It really depends on where Nora decide to position their anti-hard destruction. That's going to, you know, really force Fnatic into pushing wherever that isn't. But we could also see the bandit just get taken out. I mean, he's not on site right now, so he's pretty far from it, in fact. And he's already placed all his bandit batteries, so the Thatcher's going to eliminate them.
And he could go for a jump out as well.
Yeah.
Like Mariu was trying to guess as to whether or not he should spring through that master bedroom window, but now he's moved over to the closet. Could possibly go for a run out there. First encounter is going to be the Pulse of Waka, who's just been able to live every single place on this map that he wants.
Yeah.
He does a little bit of damage to Magnet. Magnet will try to, I guess, answer back with a Logic Bomb, try to pin down the location of the Pulse.
If in Fnatic's shoes right now, and I happen to have a top-down view of the entire map, I would be committing solely to a study take. But because they're hunting the roamers, they're losing players. This is what we've seen a lot on this exact site. Waka gets the first kill. Oh man, who other than Dokkaebi? That's quite possibly, I mean, they don't have the Ying anymore, so now it's the Dokkaebi who's one of the most valuable operators on the attacking side. This roam from Nora has been so successful, and it's gonna get even worse for Fnatic. They'll finally shut down Waka, but after they lose 2 operators to the Pulse.
And I mean, you have your IQ. You could have possibly been hunting down the Pulse earlier on. I don't believe she had her sensor out, but Waka did. That's how he knew he had the information. And good for Fnatic that Virtue was there to be able to catch them as they fell, but it was a little too late. You essentially traded 1 body in the Pulse. But keep in mind, Waka did get the big 3K last time around. It's going to be a fight between Mariu and Virtue as the Bandit tries to get away. Aces is tagged on in as he'll go on the other hard breachers. There's been some juggling now with the Thatcher of Lusty. A little bit far and removed from the rest of the site. But all the marks and all the advantage in favor of Nora-Rengo right now is they'll set Mariu back to 50 HP and await the tides. There's a possibility for an impact trick over on the vault wall as another Yokai drone is repositioned just to be able to look all the way down towards 90. This is going to be, once again, a good opportunity in favor of Nora-Rengo. They'll miss the they'll mix the X-Kairos though, so the vault will get opened up, Michael.
Probably wouldn't have been open. Wow, actually no, it's a crouch hole. So that means, yeah, bad preparedness on the side of Nora to allow that to happen. Truly unfortunate to see if you're a Nora fan. But they're still a very advantageous position in terms of defense. Yokai Drone's not being played because Ramo is trying to play proximity. He doesn't hear the tapping of the diffuser. What's going on? How is it being planted? Aces comes off at the last second to refrag his teammate because he has no cover. It's a flank from Mariu, though, to shut down Ash as he pushes into Gunvolt, and Papilio will lock out Aces, the final attacker. What a decisive round for Nora.
Once again, time is such a problem for Fnatic, and Waka was able to eat up so much of it. And then the transition into the site, you noted they didn't hear the diffuser going down, but it didn't matter because Aces fell off to try and help the rest of his teammates. They were falling all around him, and it might have been the right call, but he was able to get one kill. He was still in a position where it was almost completely unwinnable as he was sitting by the main doorway, by the vault door as well. This is where the stress really starts to kick in for Fnatic. Now, if you lose 5-1 on Villa, that's not terrible, especially when the 5 is coming on the side of the defense. But the bigger worry is, as you mentioned at the onset, you've gone down a map and then you have to go to the side that you are supposed to win on, which is going to be defense. Nora-Rengo can outmuscle you and take 1 or 2 of those starting rounds of theirs on attack. They're going to be in really good shape to just continue to ride that momentum onwards.
Yeah, and they're quite substantially on that ride right now. Nora in such good control right now. Looking to lock it out. So, as they go to a kitchen defense, this is the only site that Nora has not been successful on so far. Definitely the greatest potential for Fnatic to keep themselves in this match. You have to imagine if Fnatic are unable to defend, or rather attack, pardon me, this site, then they're probably going to have a hard time bringing back the map. And with it, the series, because as we all know, Nora already took that first map. There is no second chance for Fnatic at this point.
Nora-Rengo's blown up their composition completely. Mute LN, oh no! Oh, Rizraz. That's a stinger right there.
This keeps happening, and this time it was a run out.
Well, I mean, we saw Mariu go for the run out, or at least attempt it with the primed window or the prepped window last round. But he didn't end up going for it because there was no call for it. It's a smart choice on his part, but
what keeps happening is the early picks. Early pick after early pick for Nora, and no punishment from Fnatic this time around. Usually it's the roamers. This time it was just a run out, which is even worse, all things considered. So yeah, Fnatic trying to bring it back. Magnet having Lusty drone for him right now. Trying to frag hunt on the Thatcher. Not perfect, but not terrible. That's really bad timing. And it will be called out, but it's, again, bad timing. He gets it through the wall. Magnet, what a shot. Ramu's gonna refrag though into Virtue, and he will fall down the astronomy stairs, going right back to site. The roamers have done their job. They have shut down some of the frag potential for Fnatic, and now all they need to do is wait.
I like that cheeky little eyebrow raise from Magnet after he got that kill through the wall on intel that he was given by Lusty, who has been touted on Fnatic as an exceptional droner and a really talented player, all things considered. Mariu is under fire inside a master bathroom. Magnet will be just a second away from being able to spot him as the lifeline or the logic bomb will rain out, and we'll just try to hold down that bathroom. So many goo mines in front of him, but he puts the impact away because he knows that if he goes to the impact, it'll also take out all the goo mines. Engaged in a 2v1, but there you go. Fnatic will clear him out, but once again, time as Lusty losing so much HP, he gets downed. It's an easy finish for Bramu. Magnet is also downed as Aces will go for a reset, but watch out for those goo mines. You are low enough. You could possibly fall. Magnet will be picked back up. This is going to be a very difficult transition for Fnatic. Nora-Rengo still holds a 3v2 advantage.
And an HP advantage to boot. They also know the diffuser's down. Waka seems to want to play it, but he's going to fall back. Why? There's only 30 seconds left. He doesn't need to hold on to it. And a double for Waka as Fnatic vault downstairs. What a half from Nora to take it 5-1.
This is an absolutely dominating performance for Nora-Rengo on defense, and exactly what you want on Villa. A 4-2 scoreline is typically what the defense is able to muster if everything goes according to plan. That was a beautiful run out there from Mariu. But a 5-1 on Villa. Yeah. You have momentum, you have the map behind you, and your opponents, might be in a position where they are not of the best mind right now. Especially for somebody like Virtue, who did extraordinary things in the group stages, but now is in probably the toughest position that he's been in since he's joined this team.
I mean, if we're being fair to Virtue, he's got the most kills on his team right now. 7, Ace is the closest with 6, and everyone else on Fnatic right now yet to show up, really.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
In the meantime, we've been seeing an excellent performance from most people on Nora-Rengo overall. And of course, it's defense Villa, so you have to give them the edge. But Fnatic, a lot of those rounds really just didn't seem to be present on the attack. The only round we saw them show up was, of course, the only one that they won, attacking Kitchen the first time.
13-7 in opening duels across the match. That is... I mean, but that was the story in Bang, and that's the story here now as well. Not droning, not knowing where people are, and having Nora-Rengo be able to just take complete advantage of that. And I think it was far more prevalent in the 6 rounds we just saw on defense on Villa than it was on Bang. At least on Bang, Fnatic seemed to have some semblance of where Nora-Rengo would be playing. On Villa, they've seemed a little lost on a couple of these rounds. I'm very frustrated because of it.
Now here's the thing, Parker, and this is really good for Fnatic. They don't have to drone anymore. And I know, sounds like a joke, right? But no, their droning has been abysmal. Their roam clear, abysmal. And it's something that Fnatic is definitely going to need to improve on if we get to a map number 3. At this point, though, it doesn't really seem like we're going there. Nora are the ones in the trickier spot because they have to attack. That's the one advantage Fnatic have. And there's quite a lot of ways to take full control here as a defender. And we see that exactly happening. Lusty and Magnet on a duo roam by Aviator and Games. Very dangerous to commit to. And you can see they don't have a rotation back. They're stuck in Gunfall right now, actually. 2 of them being droned out and fully stuck. But they're wasting time, and that's the objective. Lusty will use an impact to fall back to site. Magnet's gonna linger, but he'll still just barely be shut down, actually, and it's by an attachment-less AUG. What a curious kill there for Raysil to make it, but he does. Rizraz refrags onto Papilia, and Fnatic are still in this because of that.
Papilia just got a little bit too aggressive there for really no reason and threw his life away, and it was Rizraz just standing at the doorway waiting very patiently. And he knows that somebody is in there, so anyway. That's opening frags on both sides. With Papilia, you lose the disruption, but Magnet being gone is really damning. Yet again, you keep handing Magnet these important operators. You lose your Echo, you just lost your Legion. As Mariu is going to take out Lusty and give Nora-Rengo an advantage yet again. Look over a Nora-Rengo side of things, and Waka will be the most important part of that lineup in terms of what he brings to the table outside of just killing potential. You'll have to imagine that he's going to be able to get those logic bombs and smoke off well. The punch back there from Aces as he takes out Mariu. I don't know exactly what the Ashe was thinking, whether there was drone work or not. But we put us back even. 30 seconds to go, and Ramu just holding the rotate into Astronomy. Nobody's really contested Virtue at all. Smoke grenade goes down in the midst of it. Raysil, with as you noted, an attachmentless AUG going for the plant. He falls off. Great shot from Ramu. Rizraz refrags Waka, and there's Ramu with another. The Thermite fragging so well. And Ramu, what a commanding performance. And just like that, Nora-Rengo on match point. Series point.
Absolutely crippling. In no way do I see Fnatic being able to bring this back. They've got to be in the gutter mentally. Nora have been performing out of their minds in this match. And I think they know it at this point. The plays from Nora across the board have been getting more aggressive. Much more in sync with each other. Many more landed shots. It's just overall been getting more and more impressive for Nora as time goes on. They never cease to impress. Fnatic, on the other hand, are getting even more rigid, even more static. They're locking up, and it's visible on their faces. It's sad to see it happen, but it is happening right now.
So you think a lot of this is mental, yeah?
I think a big portion of this is mental. I'm going to talk about it going into the match. You looked at the faces of Fnatic throughout the entire match, and you could see they're not in a good place right now. Again, the best performances we've ever seen out of Fnatic, one of the best performances we ever saw out of Fnatic is when they had their coach playing with them. Why was it? Well, yeah, okay, Dizzle's a madman. But also, more importantly...
Disgod.
Yeah, Disgod. But also, and I think much more importantly, they went into that match not expecting to win.
No, they even admitted this. They took all of their strats and they threw them in the garbage.
Yep.
And then we just saw plays that you can't really expect. It was the ultimate bamboozle.
5 seconds left.
Yes, Parker.
I mean, who's expecting an Ella to come flying off the top rope on Oregon out of Armory with the FO12? Who expects that? Nobody.
Very few people. Now, I do think that if Fnatic can get something going, anything, 1 or 2 rounds, then they could turn it into a comeback. I think it's possible we could see a map number 3. But it would be one of the most impressive comebacks in all of Siege history at this point, with the way that Nora's been playing.
What is needed is, number one, the Fnatic will need to go perfect over the next 5 rounds to force overtime.
Yep.
But they will have to go perfect on a rotation and then 2 other sites. That's the big issue. You have to win 2 sites twice, and then a 3rd to boot.
Attackers recovered the bomb.
Well, I mean, it's a commitment here to Trophy once again from Fnatic, and certainly an interesting decision there, but they've committed, like I said. C4 from Magnet just to try and deter the Montaigne. And it will, for at least now, be successful. Montaigne trying to bait it out using a smoke, but it's just a little bit of a utility juggle. Gas canisters to double down for the defense. An exothermic charge, and oh no, IQ from below will get the mute jammer, allowing potentially for the exothermic charge to be detonated. I'm surprised that that happened, and Nora has yet to detonate it.
This is Nora-Rengo right now knocking at the door, and Papilia will find an opening. He'll take out Lusty for free as the Legion has his back to the enemy. There's a cut down from Ramu in a 3v5. Virtue will eliminate Papilia, and action will continue rolling forward as swift as it started. Keep in mind that all of this contest happening over towards the study side of things. Oh, a big double play from Aces to keep his team in this one, leaving Waka and Raysil to hang on. Tough to have the Montaigne be your sole member near the enemies, as Raysil will go onto drones and try to help figure out exactly where they need to attack from.
Waka's gonna shut down Magnet. He's been the hero before on Montaigne, and he might just be the hero again. Caught in a 2 versus 2, but Fnatic with 1 extra gun, all things considered. The pistol not the most effective weapon in this situation, but it's working against Aces. Waka gets another one, and it's a 1 versus 2. All down to the newest member of Fnatic, Virtue. And he's got a very lit Montaigne, but does he know it? No impact still in hand. He's gonna have to play it just off his gun skill and potentially gas canisters. Waka does not breathe in any of that smoke. Raysil coming from Astronomy, and he's laying in some fire. He knows where Virtue is rotated to. The shots from Virtue are gonna miss, leaving Raysil in a great position. Waka doesn't breathe any of that smoke either. This is terrible gas play so far from the smoke. Up close and personal with Waka. He's trying to fight Raysil. Bad timing there from the IQ. Going for a plant. Only 15 seconds does this smoke need to survive, but no, a Montaigne play from Waka. The shield's out. Missed shots from Virtue. Waka's gonna lock him out. The diffuser goes down. Raysil now repositions for the post plant. Waka knows he only needs to hold on to this door. There's very little chance that Virtue's gonna be able to clutch it, but a drop from IQ might give an opportunity to Virtue. And it's not gonna matter. A Claymore shuts him down. Nora take the series 2-0.
Michael the Beast from the East in the Japanese squad will be in tomorrow's semifinals.